San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego, and happy Tuesday to everybody out there in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Had a lot of fun yesterday watching the championship series, the ALCS. Game 7 came down to the wire. And the Toronto Blue Jays are going to be taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series. That starts on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. They're going to be in Toronto to start, then to LA, and then maybe back to Toronto. And we'll see how everything plays out in the World Series. What a great game it was yesterday, watching the Mariners duel it out with the Toronto Blue Jays. And what was probably a very heart-wrenching finish if you're a Seattle Mariners fan. Still have never made it to a World Series. I feel for Mariners fans. I really do, because in reality, that's kind of like the same feeling we have as Padres fans a lot. Unfortunately, couldn't get the job done, end up giving up a bomb late. And the Blue Jays, who were down 3-1, come back and win 4-3 over the Seattle Mariners. It's a lot of different things that played out in yesterday's game in the American League Championship Series that I think we could talk about a little bit in terms of the Padres. Like the pitching situation. What do you do with Mason Miller moving forward? Do you keep him in the bullpen? Do you make him a starter? Is he one of those guys that's going to be left at the back end to potentially be a closer? Or is he the break glass in case of emergency guy coming out of the bullpen? I think it's an interesting topic of discussion that I know was talked about a little bit earlier today on Ben and Woods. But there's a lot of things as you watch the playoffs where you start thinking about the San Diego Padres and what their roster is like and what they need to improve on to get to this level of being in the championship series and now being in a potential World Series, because now you got your World Series matchup. It's the Dodgers and it's the Blue Jays. Saw some people like tweeting out about that, like, oh, I can't believe if you're an American, you got to root for the Dodgers. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I don't necessarily know that's really the case. I definitely hope the Blue Jays win the World Series for sure. I mean, that once the Dodgers won the National League Championship Series, it was whoever was winning the American League was going to be my vote. And last night, what a fun kind of finish to the American League Championship Series in Game 7. Back and forth, late comeback by the Blue Jays. I mean, even then, like Andres Munoz got into some trouble in the 8th inning, was able to work himself out of it. Mariners just couldn't get that last hit that they needed. And in the post-game press conferences, the post-game scrums, Brian Woo's out there like trying to, piece everything together, and all of a sudden you just hear this loud scream in the background. Apparently it was Julio Rodriguez. But you just see the frustrations from the Mariners yesterday as they come up a little bit short. Now, a couple other things before we dive into some Padres information. We have coming up later an interesting name that is surfacing with the Padres managerial job. One that we hadn't talked about before. But it's not reported that the Padres are interested. It's reported that he's interested in potential Padres job. We'll talk about that at 11:35. That was reported by Dennis Lynn. Later on, we'll get to the whip around. We'll get to our overreactions, college football, weekend recap. A tweet from a betting insider that was kind of ridiculous. I mean, sometimes betting insiders, to me, go a little bit too far when it comes to like telling fans what we should want to watch and what we shouldn't want to watch. How I watch sports is a lot different than what a gambler does when he watches sports. He had a stupid tweet about college football. We're going to talk about that at 12:35. Sean Lewis spoke with the media. We're going to hear from him at 1:15. And then we're going to dive into later on at 1:35, the Holiday Bowl. Because there was reports over the weekend that the Holiday Bowl was interested in moving to Saudi Arabia. That has now been done. And San Diego is going to have the Holiday Bowl. And Mark Neville had some quotes in the San Diego Union Tribune about the potential move and what the reasoning was for some of those things. So we'll talk about that as much as we can at 1:35. But we want to talk about the top offseason focus for the Padres. We kind of got into it a little bit yesterday. Didn't have too much time to really get into it, really dive into it. But we kind of talked about the overall front office side of things. They have to extend Preller. They have to hire a manager. Kind of keep getting updates from the Angels about who they have and who they don't have. But it sounds like the Angels have found their manager. Kurt Suzuki, according to Alden Gonzalez. The Angels are on the verge of hiring Kurt Suzuki as manager, sources tell ESPN. Suzuki, who's 42, spent 16 years as Major League catcher and has spent the last 3 seasons as a special assistant to Angels general manager Perry Miezan. So it's not Torrey Hunter that we found out last night. It's not Albert Pujols, who couldn't agree to, I think, money and years on the contract, but it's actually Kurt Suzuki that is going to be the Angels' job. So that's the latest on the Angels' potential new manager, but it sounds like it's probably close. But we talked about yesterday to go back to the Padres. Got to sign AJ Preller to a contract extension. Got to find a manager. They are interviewing Albert Pujols tomorrow. After that, you got to know what's going on with Yu Darvish. We talked about that yesterday. And then the next kind of big question is, what is Mason Miller's role? Starter or an elite reliever? AJ Preller was asked this question in his end of the season press conference Zoom we aired last Tuesday, of whether Mason Miller, who was acquired in a blockbuster trade deadline deal, could be converted from a reliever to a starter. He was dominant relief. He reached over 100 miles an hour and setting velocity and strikeout records during the postseason and throughout the end of the regular season. Padres control him for 4 more seasons, and though the rotation has holes, the bullpen is already mostly a strength. Preller emphasized flexibility and collaboration in deciding Miller's role. He's one of the great talents in the game. We'll get together as a group, but get Mason's thoughts and see what's the best. I think the way that plays out also determines how you go about the offseason. But let's talk about it both ways here. Okay, again, and we've seen the reports that Mason Miller tried to be a starter with the A's and he was having arm issues because of the way he threw. I wouldn't mind seeing what he's got in spring training if he could build up his strength to be a starter. Now, I think you would know that his talents and his pitching, his fastball probably lose a little velocity as a starter, probably doesn't throw as many sliders. I mean, he doesn't empty the tank in every outing. He'd have to pace himself a little bit. I think it'd be interesting to see. I don't think we really need to dive into a world in which Mason Miller is a starting pitcher for the San Diego Padres, like what that would look like. But in terms of what he is as a reliever, if you keep him in the bullpen, everybody automatically says closer. But when you watch the postseason, there has been too many times where the closer is left sitting in the bullpen who is more than, I don't know, 80% of the time, the best bullpen arm in said bullpen. And how many times in the postseason we've seen those guys not come into pitch because you're saving them for the ninth inning? So obviously, still waiting to hear whether or not Robert Suarez is going to opt out of his contract or not. My guess is he will, which means Mason Miller is the next one to be a closer. But does he need to be a closer? How would you use Mason Miller in a bullpen for the Padres anyway? I think the conversation is a little bit more interesting than most people think. And I look at the playoffs. I honestly think the usage of Mason Miller in the bullpen is different for the regular season than it is in the postseason. For many different reasons. When you use him in the regular season, yeah, he should be the closer. You're not living and dying on every pitch. You're not living and dying on every situation. You could leave him in the back end of the bullpen, and he could pitch the ninth inning. More times than not in the regular season, the ninth inning is the high leverage point. So to me, I think he automatically pencils in as the closer. But I don't necessarily think that means he has to be there waiting for the ninth inning in the playoffs. And I think he can be used in any way. I mean, I think it goes to a lot of teams in the past that have used their closers in different aspects of the game in the bullpen. And different times, whenever the big moment seems to happen, like in the 6th or the 7th inning with the top of the order coming up, and if you get these guys out, you're going to probably win the game here instead of later. I could see him having multiple roles. But it's an interesting topic of conversation. Mason Miller the starter, Mason Miller the reliever. How do you use him? We'll discuss further when we come back, as we're just getting started on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97th of the Fans brought to you by Toyota of Poway, voted San Diego's #1 Toyota dealer by USA Today, with APRs as low as 0% and tons of new Toyotas on the ground. No tricks, only treats during the Trucktober sales event happening now only at Toyota of Poway or online at toyotaofpoway.com in the heart of San Diego. Good times. Get yourself a Tacoma or something like that. I like the Tacomas. My brother has a Tacoma. It's money. I've never really been a fan of the Tundras, but the new Tundras look pretty nice too. So there you go. Trucktober. What was the I think it was like Halloween or something like that, I found out. I think it was who was it? Oh, it was the Yale. Yale had a game. This is from my volleyball notes. When I do volleyball play-by-play for USD, they played Yale, and I was looking at their schedule, and it said Halloween. They're going to play on Halloween, and they're doing like a volleyball Halloween thing for like the kids and stuff. I'm like, that's a great play on words, Halloween. So is Trucktober. Love it. These marketing people are just off the charts. All right, couple of news and notes for the Padres. Okay, something happened this morning. People are trying to make a big deal about it. I don't think it's that big of a deal, to be honest with you. We got the report this morning that, and I'm trying to find the exact deal. Here it is. Francis Romero on social media. Baseball and sports reporter, BBWAA member, covers a lot of the Latin part of baseball. Tweeted this out. Source, the Rockies have hired scout Alvin Duran as their new Latin America supervisor and assistant to the director. One of the most hardworking and talented young scouts in the industry. He successfully completed his stint with the San Diego Padres as DR coordinator, Dominican Republic coordinator. He goes on to say Duran played an important role in key signings such as Leo DeVries, Emmanuel Clase, and Ethan Salas. People are really trying to, really blowing this thing up. Here's my deal on this particular thing. Okay, and this is my overall opinion on this situation. Natural reaction. Good for Duran. Because this is a guy that obviously has been working his way up the ladder. And when you have guys like that, sometimes you don't have a job for them to promote to. And they get picked up by other organizations. Other organizations grabbing some of your personnel. As an organization, you're usually proud of those guys being able to move on to the next level. You see it in college athletic programs all the time. And so for me, I don't think it's that big of a deal that a guy that was part of the scouting and finding of great players got picked up by another. What is interesting about this, though, is the Rockies still don't have a general manager, but they're hiring some lower level pieces. So I find that to be very interesting. In terms of a Padres standpoint, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, some people are trying to make it like, oh, this means AJ Preller's gone. No, stop it. I don't think that's the case. A little bit of news. Not too much, but a little bit of news. We also got a little bit of news about another name that might be interested in the managerial job for the San Diego Padres. We're going to talk about that later on. Somebody part of the organization already. But I want to get back to some of these top offseason focuses for the Padres. And we're talking about Mason Miller's role. And we had the clip from from last week about AJ Preller talking about the Mason Miller situation. Do we have that ready to go? All right. Here's what AJ Preller had to say about exactly what they were going to do with Mason Miller.
We just talk again, like this is, we'll kind of start our review process and start having more communication with the players, with Ruben and Fritzy in that group also. The only thing I said to Mason at the end of Chicago was honestly like, hey, like obviously like thankful for the way he performed and impressed with how he went about his business after a big trade. And then just telling him that we'll be in touch in the next couple of weeks and have that conversation. So I'll be up between us and Mason. I think the good news is he's one of the great talents in the game. He can do a lot of things on the mound. I think we've seen like obviously the dominance with the fastball slider mix, the changeup coming into play. We've had some success here making guys starters, between Pomeranz and King and Lugo, and some others that I may be forgetting. But at the end of the day, like we'll get together as a group. We'll have our thoughts. We'll definitely get Mason's thoughts and hear what he thinks is best. We'll see how the off season plays out roster wise, and then we'll have some clear direction for him of what that looks like.
I think this is all part of the process of trying to figure out your roster during the offseason. We went through the order already. We've talked about this multiple times. Extend AJ Preller. Once they do that, check. Find a manager. They're interviewing Albert Pujols on Wednesday, tomorrow. And we're going to hear from Alden Gonzalez, who joined Gwen and Chris later on, about the whole Albert Pujols situation and why he's garnering so much love as a potential manager. So that will happen later on in the show. But got to be able to hire a manager. And it's not just going to be Albert Pujols. I mean, we're going to start getting some more information on other candidates that they are hiring, that they are interviewing for the managerial job. You got to figure out what Yu Darvish is doing in terms of playing or retiring. And I think he's probably leaning more towards retirement than anything else, but who knows? I mean, the fact that it's been talked about a lot, even before he pitched in Chicago, tells you a lot about that situation. And then you got to figure out, is Mason Miller going to be part of the starting rotation, at least going into spring training, or is he going to be part of the bullpen? I don't mind trying him out in spring training. I really don't. Giving him a couple of innings, trying to work with him to build up to be a starting pitcher, seeing if there's ways to use his assets in a way that's not going to get him hurt, like he almost did in Oaklamento with the Athletics, because I think that solves a lot of problems if you have him under control for a long time and he is a affordable starting pitcher. I think the same thing can be said about Adrian Morejon. I think you got to figure out what you're doing with those two players first before you start talking about, are we signing free agent starting pitchers, or are we signing free agent bullpen arms? Are we trying to trade for a starting pitcher, or are we trying to trade for a closer somewhere? These are all things that need to be sorted out by the staff before they could start asking around. Now, here's the deal. We have the World Series schedule, and the World Series, if it goes 7 games, would be ending on November 1st. And 5 days after that is when free agency opens up during the offseason. So if the series goes 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the latest that free agency can open up is Friday, November 7th. That is the latest. It could open up very early, too. If the series goes 4 games, then all of a sudden it opens up on November 3rd. So that first week of November, free agency is going to open up at some point in time. And you got to have your ducks in a row ready to go sign some key pickups for helping with the slug, helping with the rotation, figuring out if you need bullpen arms or not. And so all of these things that we're talking about are all kind of coincide with the plan for the 2025, or should I say 2026 offseason. Now, aside from the Mason Miller situation in terms of, is he going to be a starter? Is he going to be a reliever? There's also a couple other questions in there that need to be addressed. You obviously have to rebuild the rotation, so listening and figuring out, or should I say actively trying to figure out if Mason Miller could get the job done, or if you think he can survive being a starting pitcher is part of that. I think Adrian Morejon, I think some candidates within house are also part of that equation. So you really want to think about rebuilding the rotation. But also, what about a certain prospect that's still part of the organization that is one of the highly touted prospects? That's another big question going into this offseason is what do you do with Ethan Salas? How much patience do you have? What do you have him do? He's coming off of injury. We'll discuss further when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All guests on 97 through the Fan join us via the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. All right, I think Frank is. I think he's calmed down enough. Are you okay?
Better than I was.
He was not okay.
Nope.
He was
I was
very
not.
much far from okay.
I was about the furthest thing from okay that you could imagine.
Yes. I've never seen Frank so hot walking in the studio.
Not upset, angry.
Angry. He was livid. Adam was going to let him take the first hour off.
Nope.
Do you want to get some coffee?
Just let me get in my rhythm. Let me start my day, and we'll be good.
This was me, just kind of waiting.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted to be that guy and just start the show and just throw the match onto what was about to be a bonfire that would turn into a mushroom cloud explosion. I was ready to do that, but you know what? I respect Frank enough. I knew he was too hot about it.
Yep, I was.
And so I had to really calmly tap dance for the first 2 segments. But Frank is back, everybody.
Just a word. Well, it started when I saw that NASCAR revealed the track map for next
that
year.
really calmed down.
That's when I started to turn.
It was Frank's emotional NASCAR map.
Exactly. So
is that allowed on planes and stuff? What is that, sir? You're only allowed a carry-on and a personal item. What is it? This is my emotional NASCAR map.
Yep, exactly right.
It calms me down.
Exactly right.
We got a NASCAR map about Coronado, which is pretty cool.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, back to Frank.
Word to the wise. There's an accident on the freeway. On the east side of the freeway. There is no reason to back up traffic for 7 miles on the west side of the freeway.
Hang on a second.
If your life is that devoid of entertainment that you need to stop on the freeway to look at an accident,
I have to ask a follow-up question.
On the other side of the freeway, you need to find a hobby.
I need to ask a follow-up question.
Go ahead.
Were they shutting down lanes on the opposite side for first responders?
Nope.
There was nothing wrong with the westbound part of the freeway.
Not a thing.
Accident was on eastbound.
Yes, it was.
And they were taking up lanes there.
There was not.
There was no like emergency vehicles or tow trucks on the wrong side that was back to back. None of that.
Not a one.
Oh man. So you got hosed by the looky-loos.
Yep.
That's why he was so upset. When you said, like, shutting down the freeway on the other side, I thought for sure that they shut down lanes of that freeway.
Nope.
Did anybody else get victimized by the 8th today on that? I don't know. Anybody else stuck in the traffic with you? I mean, the looky-loos.
Oh, there were a lot of people.
I don't want to see any type of things like that. I mean, sometimes you don't want to see what could potentially be there.
Mm-mm.
So hopefully everything was good for that point. I don't know if this was the same accident from like earlier this morning. Is it the same one from earlier this morning that we got the reports on?
I have no idea.
Because there was an officer one earlier this morning.
I have no idea. I wake up, get ready, come here.
You don't need to look at first responders dealing with what could be a very bad situation. Just keep it moving. In my opinion.
Yeah.
It's not fun. I don't want to deal with that.
Nope.
At all. But I know that's been a rough morning for a lot of people today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yep.
Yeah, that one happened last night. I think this is a different situation.
So
I think this morning was different.
I'm feeling a little bit better now. Still not calm, but I can trust myself on a microphone that reaches to the city now. So I'm good.
Do you want to go through this map real quick, or do you want to save it for later?
No, we could save it for later. You never know. We might need something for tomorrow. Um,
Naval Base Coronado. Here's what you need to know about the map. I'll let Frank get technical with it later.
Mhm.
But here's what you need to know about the map. 16 turns, 3.4 miles.
Find a seat near turn 2.
Turn 2 is a 90-degree angle turn.
90-degree left-hander that is coming off of a long straightaway. Fine. If my years of watching Formula One have taught me anything, 90-degree corners after long straightaways usually lead to big boom. So find a seat near turn 2 or somewhere where you can see turn 2.
All right, so it was the carryover for last night, which is terrible. And thoughts and prayers to the families.
Yes, absolutely.
And that particular, I have been part of the traffic in those particular situations. Like, I missed work last year coming down from San Clemente on Interstate 5. I mean, and it's like you sit there and you're frustrated, but at the same time, my frustration is going to be way different than people that were obviously part of the bad situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's a terrible accident that it happened 10:30 last night and still going. I mean, probably with an investigation, everything like that. And again, don't be a looky-loo. Keep it going. You don't need to see anything. Just keep driving. So, hearts out to the police officer's family that passed away last night with that accident on Interstate 8.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to talk about the NASCAR crash or the NASCAR race that's coming to San Diego?
Yes.
It's going to be on North Island.
Yes, it is.
When I saw that, I thought it was going to be mostly on the runway for some reason. I can't remember the last time I was on Naval Base North Island. I know I had a field trip there when I was a kid.
They do a lot of things on the runway, like the Speed Festival, which I don't know if they still do it anymore, but I did go to 1 year. That's all entirely on the runway. They have all the cars out on display. They have other cars out on display in the taxiways and stuff like that. But on the runway, they usually run on the Speed Festival.
So I thought for sure that would be the case, but I forget that it's a base with streets and everything like that. So when looking at the map of the NASCAR race, you can actually see it on Google Maps. NASCAR posted it, but you can actually see it on Google Maps where you could see the outline of the regular streets to make it a, quote, road course for the deal. As you look at this map for a road course, Frank, very typical road course, special road course, a couple of places where they can open it up a little bit.
I mean, as far as road racing is concerned, like actual street racing, you're more or less forced to just take what the surrounding area gives you. But as far as this track goes, it looks like it's going to be, it's got a mixture of everything. It's got sweeping corners, it's got tight corners, got a couple of chicanes in there, a lot of speed, a lot of places to get these cars up to some form of speed. This is not going to be just a slow, winding malaise of a race. They've actually done a very good job of what it looks like, getting everything that you would hope and expect out of a street NASCAR race. They got pretty much everything. You got tight technical sections, you got sweeping corners, you got a lot of place to let the ponies run. It's going to be a very, very interesting race for all 3 series all weekend long.
Are they going to remove the speed bumps?
They're going to have to. They are going to have to.
You look at the there's like 5 right turns in there too. Are they going to be able to make those?
Funny enough, I think they'll be okay.
You sure?
I'm about positive. Yes.
Do you remember that Sports Center commercial
Yes, with Junior. Yes.
where he like couldn't make any right hand turns. He was
Mhm.
just only turning left.
Yep.
Was that a Sports Center commercial or
That
like a
was-
commercial for something else?
No, that was a This is Sports Center commercial. Yes.
That or there was another one where they were taking out the speed bumps.
Yes, in the parking lot. So I think it was Rusty Wallace could get his car over it in the parking lot. Yes.
Put the jackhammer on the
Yep.
speed bumps. What did you say? You said what's a turn eighth? What is that called?
The Coronado chicane.
What is a chicane? Is that why it goes
It's
like
a left-right.
left-right very quickly?
It's a left-right little snap.
I thought for sure they'd let him open it up a little bit more on the runway.
And then again, it depends on how. I mean, it depends on how much room you have, and then you also have to not only get these 3,400-pound hunks of lead up to speed, you also then have to stop them, which is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, you have to slow them down very quickly.
Yes, and those things don't do anything but go straight very quickly.
I think it's going to be a fun little deal, and they're bringing everybody here, right?
Yes, all three series, the Cup Series, what will next year be the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, what is now the Xfinity Series,
Why did you say it like that?
because it's just call it the Busch Series. Everyone calls it the Busch Series. And the Craftsman Truck Series will all be here. So that'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday of racing. We are already begging.
I think you have to do I think they should have to do the O'Reilly jingle in order to say the O'Reilly series.
No, for the love of it all.
Yes, please. I'm going to make
no.
you have to say that.
No.
If you want to talk about NASCAR on the show, you're going to have to call it the O'Reilly series.
Fans have already been worn thin by the fact that every Xfinity driver has to say, man, our car was as fast as Xfinity wireless internet all season long, that would be way too much.
I think you could be giving out.
Singing
You know
the
what?
jingle would be way too far.
This is a great bit idea. You ready for this?
Fast as Xfinity Mobile.
We're going to have, we got to find a way to get tickets to the O'Reilly series at the thing. And then we should give them away. And then whoever wins them, Frank should show up and sing the O'Reilly jingle as he hands out the tickets. Rod, natural casings. I think we're onto something here. The traveling jingler, Frank Marchese.
No, that's Chris Ello.
I know it might be you now. Handing out O'Reilly series tickets and singing the O'Reilly jingle as you hand the tickets out. We got to make this a thing.
No, we don't. We don't have to make this.
This is great.
We do not have to make this a thing.
I think we do.
Which, by the way, I will say this: if anyone from NASCAR is listening, not only have I said on multiple occasions that we will promote this thing to the heavens if you allow us to. There have been, well, next year, there will be 2 races under our belts covering NASCAR at Phoenix. No other radio station in San Diego can say that. So if you need an official San Diego radio partner, we do have experience covering NASCAR events at this radio station. It's me, and one of them is to be determined next year, but that is 1, definitely, and 2, hypothetical, more races than any other radio station in this city has done.
So when somebody wins the O'Reilly, a race in the O'Reilly series, are they going to say like, well, you know, if it wasn't for the parts we got from O'Reilly Auto Parts,
Probably.
we would be able to win this race today?
That will probably be the bit.
Oh, God. I can't believe it. All right. We wanted to talk about Ethan Salas coming into this particular diatribe, but then we had the NASCAR map. If you want to go see it, who posted it? NASCAR?
We did. NASCAR posted it. 97.3 did. If you're looking for NASCAR news, Jeff Gluck and Bob Pockrass are usually the two most reliable sources. Jeff Gluck works for The Athletic, and Bob Pockrass works for Fox. So those would be your two inside NASCAR guys if you want to get any NASCAR news.
And there you can go find the map for this particular race that's coming next Father's Day.
And of course, at NASCAR San Diego, which is the official Twitter account for the event, has the track map as well.
All right, let's talk about Ethan Salas. Team's top prospect, former number 1 international signee from 2023, continues to recover from a stress reaction in his back that sidelined him most of the year. The injury caused him to miss the Arizona Fall League, where he was initially slated to play. Preller said the organization is being deliberately cautious due to Salas's age. He is only 19. Quote, "It's not really a setback. It's about the next 10 years. Salas has resumed batting and baseball activities with a small chance of winter ball participation later in the offseason." What do we think about the timeline for Ethan Salas now with Freddie Fermin being part of the organization?
I don't think it's as rushed anymore.
I don't think so either.
I think you're in a spot right now where at least this year your catching situation is pretty well set. It'll be Fermin and Camposano. That's more or less what you would expect. I think you can afford now to wait a little bit longer to allow Salas to get up to speed, start working his way through the lower levels, get more confident. Now, of course, I would want him to get up with Freddie Fermin as quickly as he can, so Fermin can spread some of that Salvi knowledge to him. But I don't think it's as dire now as it was in July.
I don't think so either. I think now you got to let the kid. I mean, realistically, before you started factoring in the situation of, okay, the Padres bringing prospects up quicker than other organizations, and the situation that the Padres didn't really have a catcher. I mean, it's been kind of the whole nightmare of the Padres not having a shortstop for ages, for all of those bad years, quickly turned into now Padres not having a catcher situation. I think that's been solved with Freddie Fermin, at least for the next handful of years. So even with factoring that part out, it takes catchers longer to develop in the minor leagues because they're still trying to learn how to hit, and also they're learning how to manage a staff and being a catcher and working on defense. And even though Ethan Salas is well above his means and mature above his age, it was still going to take some time. I think a lot of people said like 21, 22 years old is like a great time for him to come up. That's still like 3 years away. And Ethan Salas has been with this organization now for a decent amount of time. And people are like freaking out that he's like, oh, he got another back injury. And like, what are we going to do with Ethan Salas? Maybe he's a bust. A bust? The kid is 19 years old. I mean, up until this year, he should have been in high school. But he's playing professional baseball, and he's in leagues like way higher than where he's probably supposed to be because the Padres expedite the process. So I think he could go back to a normal timeline now instead of a rush one like Frank was talking about. And I think that's going to play well for a guy like Ethan Salas.
And it's a lot easier to find backup catchers than it is to find starting catchers. So you can run with a couple of different backup catchers that'll get 50, maybe 60 starts a year behind Freddie Fermin while this kid develops properly. He may be a very highly touted prospect. However, it has been shown that you can ruin a guy if you bring them up too quick. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise for him. Maybe they do sign Freddie Fermin to a longer-term deal. Maybe you don't really get the chance to see what Ethan Salas turns into, at least on this team. But right now, I think it's pushed the timeline back to where he can be a normal player coming up through the minor league system the right way, the proper way, on the proper timeline, instead of being thrown into the major leagues at 20 to be the catcher savior that this team has needed.
He started playing. I mean, he got to Double-A at age 17. He was, on average, 7.5 years younger than everybody in that league.
Mm-hmm.
He played in that league last year, albeit for only 10 games before he got hurt. He was still 5 years younger than everybody in that league. That's Double-A. That's Double-A. It's going to put him on a more natural progression. Let's say he, in 2 years gets brought up. I mean, he still has the ability, because of where Freddie Fermin is with the contract and being under control now for a long period of time.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to extend him now. I meant more down the line. Sign him.
I mean, Ethan Salas is set up to basically be like, even if the next 2 years he doesn't get to the major leagues, doesn't get to 2028, when he's 2022, he still has 2 years he can work underneath for me if he wanted to. Interesting topic of conversation. We'll continue some Padres talk as we get to the 11 o'clock hour. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 11 a.m. on the Braden Surprenant Show. A lot of people talking about the NASCAR event today. We've got the track, which is great to see. Brock Landers goes, he plays golf at Sienna Air and shop at the Exchange over there. Every so often, I've seen the map, and I know those streets, they seem so small for a race. Street course. Do you think they'll take out the speed bumps?
Again,
You got the permits for that?
I would hope so.
You got the permits for that?
No, still working on it.
Still working
as far
on
as
it.
I know.
I don't know if the military's cleared it yet. We're still waiting. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. This guy goes, can't wait for Father's Day at the track. Gonna be a fun time. We had a question. Somebody tweeted at us.
Yes, we did. This is something that you guys can do. I know we don't promote it much, but you can do this. If you would like to ask us a question, please follow us on Twitter at B_SURP show, and you can write to us. This is from Santee Sean on Twitter. Mason Miller is dominant. Suarez will be gone. Why take a guy that is a superstar closer just to have him try to make 25 starts, blow out his arm, and we lose him? Not catching the reason on this one, but I'm a softball coach, so what do I know? That is exactly what he wrote as he wrote it. That was not me.
You're not a
knocking him
softball.
as being a Super Bowl.
You're not a softball coach.
No, I am not a softball coach.
Thanks for clearing that up. My reasoning is for a couple of things. One, it saves you money, which is not the best reason. But the other thing too is he has the ability to do it, and I think it makes a lot more sense on that trade if he actually becomes a starter. And there was some teasing about him potentially being a starter for the A's. I know they tried it slightly, and he ran into some issues, but I don't think it's bad to talk about it and ask him. And if he wants to do it, try it in spring training and see where he's at health-wise and see what he does. I mean, to me, that's more. It might be more valuable than him being a guy that's only used for a couple of innings. I mean, think about it from a perspective of like, I don't want to say, war, but when you look at value of players, what did he have? He was like the 75th best pitcher in baseball last year due to value with WAR because he only threw 60 innings. I mean, if he's your best pitcher on the team, but he can only give you 60 innings a year, is he really that great of an asset, Frank?
I mean, it's
a little bit, but not the most.
Depends on the 60 innings. If he's throwing 60 innings, but they're fifth inning, then no, it doesn't really matter. But if it's 60 innings and it's the ninth inning with a 1 or 2 run lead, then yeah, it does kind of matter.
I wouldn't force him to do it. I wouldn't be like, you're going to be a starting pitcher and just be like, I don't really care what you think. I think that creates bad optics. But if they have the conversation, with Mason Miller, and he says, I'm all for it, then I think you got to give it a chance and see what it's like in spring training. And to me, this is a one-time deal. Okay? It's not a try this multiple times during his Padres career. I think you try it now. Ask him about it. If he's in, see if he could start working out to try to build his arm up to be a starting pitcher. Test it out in spring training. And if it doesn't work, guess what he can do? He can go back to the bullpen. People are worried about him blowing out his arm. I think you could do this in a cautious way instead of just like gearing him up and having him go out there. There's a way to do it. I think he has to limit how many sliders he throws. I think he has to take a little bit off the velo off a little bit. But I think it saves you a lot of money if you could turn him into a starter. I think that helps your team out a lot if you turn him into a starter. But this is what you have to do, in my opinion, to be creative when you have already spent 60% of your income, 64% of your revenue? When you've already spent 64% of your revenue on your roster. These are some of the moves and ideas that you have to come up with because you need starting pitching and it doesn't grow on trees. And the pitchers that are available are going to cost a lot of money and you're going to be frustrated with what you see on the market. So this is a way to do that because it's easier to acquire bullpen arms and to find bullpen arms than it is to find starting pitchers. I would do the same thing with Morejon, to be honest with you. I would do the same thing with Morejon. What's more valuable to your team, a starting pitcher or a closer that only pitches the ninth inning when he has a lead? What's more valuable? It's a starting pitcher. I think you got to try it. I honestly think you got to try it.
And I think, as you pointed out yesterday, it's a lot easier to stretch out and then go to the bullpen instead of doing it the other way around. So if you're going to do this, it's going to need to be an off-season thing, or else the guy is missing time as he goes down to the minors or does 100%. Whatever to stretch out. So then you just don't have him, period.
Having a good closer is nice. Having a good closer is not necessary. And it's almost like when Mason Miller's only throwing 60 innings for you, I think he'd throw more next year. He's like Mason Miller sitting in the Padres bullpen is like that meme of that trailer park, right? The house is all beat up, and then under the covered parking, there's like a Maserati in it. That's what it is, like having a elite closer, but like everybody else in your rotation. Like, what happens if your rotation's not very good, and you just have Mason Miller hanging out back there? You have to find ways to create value. And to me, like, you would have to have a way or an opportunity to see if Mason Miller can start. Would you have Trevor Hoffman become a starting pitcher? No, Trevor Hoffman threw like low 90s and he had a changeup. He wasn't built to be a starting pitcher. He was just a good bullpen arm. Mason Miller had been rumored to be a guy that could be converted into a starting pitcher. And if that is the rumor, then you give it a chance.
He came up as a starter.
Right. He came up as a starter.
He was a starter. When he got called up, he was a starter. And he moved to the bullpen. Because he
was going to really hard. Yeah, he's throwing really hard and he's going to throw out his arm.
There are some guys who are just meant for that bullpen role. There are some guys that are meant for a starter role. And then there are some guys that the starter role can only take you so far. Mason Miller was one of those guys where the starter role took him so far, but if he wanted to stay there, if he wanted to stay in the show, he was going to have to go to the bullpen. That's exactly what he did, and he became one of the best at it.
He made 6 starts in his first year with the A's.
Adrian Morejon is another example.
They signed him to be a starter.
Yeah. Adrian Morejon was a starter, but he was not going to stay in the major leagues as a starter. Being a starter only took him so far. He revitalized himself as a bullpen arm, and last year he was one of the best bullpen arms in baseball. It happens with a lot of guys. Seth Lugo was that way. Yuris Familia, going back to that he was that way. There are guys that come up as starters. Rafael Montero was a starter when he came up with the Mets. He found his calling in the bullpen with Houston. It happens.
It's not max value as a closer. There's only so much value getting a closer, but he only pitches a handful of times, and it's just 1 inning. This is what Mason Miller did in 2023 as a starting pitcher for the A's. He pitched 4 1/3 innings in his debut against the Cubs, gave up 2 earned runs on 4 hits. He threw 4 innings. Black screen again. 4 innings against the Angels, in which he gave up 4 earned runs. Again, this is a rookie year for Mason Miller. He threw 7 innings against the Mariners in a 2-1 loss back on May 2nd, 2023. 7-inning shutout ball. 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. Threw 6 innings against Kansas City as a starter. 2 earned runs, 5 hits. He then came in as a bullpen arm against Toronto through 2 innings. Later in the year, then he started again. He did. He started a couple more times. That was around the time that they were worried about his arm, and they moved him to the bullpen. Just because he had a little bit of issues before doesn't mean he's going to have them again. And who knows? Maybe the way that the Padres navigate it will be a little bit different. But to me, I think Mason Miller, who was a starter coming up, should be used as potentially a starting pitcher.
And Vapors in the chat, we're not making a case that he'd be more valuable as a starter. It makes the trade more valuable when you give up your number 1 prospect in the minor league system for a closer that doesn't look great.
Well, let me ask you this.
If you give it up for a starter, it looks better.
Let me ask you this, though. I think he would be more valuable. You want to know why he'd be more valuable? And I think Cal is all day in the chat brings up a good point. Average innings per start in Major League Baseball nowadays is like about 5 innings. He probably could do it. You don't need him to go 7. How many innings do you need him to go as a starting pitcher? If he is pitching, let's just say he is as dominant, maybe slightly less dominant as we just saw him in a Padres uniform. How many innings of him going do you need?
Right, but my point in
No, I'm not done making my point. Answer that for me.
How many
innings? If he's going to pitch like he did in the postseason, slightly less,
5 or 6.
5 innings is probably great. So if that is the outings he could put out there and just has insane wipe away stuff, and he's making ARB money for 3 years, that is more valuable than him just being a closer.
We're saying the same thing. But the point of what I was saying, the point of the comment that I was responding to was Vapor said, mark my words, he'll be a top paid closer in a couple of years. We're not saying that he can't be a closer. That's been proven already. He can be a closer. What the point we're making is it would make the trade more valuable if he became a starter. And if he can't do it, then he can't do it. Fine, move him back to the closer role. That's what we're saying.
His greatest strength is not his 104 fastball. His greatest strength is slider.
Yes.
His slider is his greatest strength. His slider is disgusting. His slider playing off of 99 or 100 is still a lethal combination. And if you can use that for multiple innings, he is a way more valuable player to the San Diego Padres as a starting pitcher than he would be just 1 inning as a closer.
Didn't he throw his immaculate inning with 9 sliders?
Yeah, he didn't even throw his fastball 1 time. No, his fastball is not his greatest strength. His greatest strength is his slider. And if you can use that as a starting pitcher and you're paying him, arbitration money, $3.4 million expected next year, and he's a starter and he gives you 20 starts.
And
now you could go spend the money on something else. That's what makes him more valuable. Him being a bullpen arm, I could get. You know how many guys now throw over 100 miles an hour? I mean, there's every bullpen arm the Padres have, guys throw 100 miles an hour. You can find guys to go do that for 1 inning. The reason why Mason Miller is so valuable and could be a starter is because he can get guys out multiple times through an order. The reason why players are bullpen arms, they can't do that. They can't do that. But as a start, the reason why they're starters is they can navigate a lineup multiple times. They don't get figured out as fast. That's why he's more valuable to me as a starting pitcher.
Right, and that's exactly what Manny in the chat got what I mean, which is you're not moving him because he can't be a closer. You're moving him because you're trying to extract the most value out of the trade while he's under control.
Correct.
It's about extracting value, not he can't do this. Let's move him to the starting rotation.
And we didn't even talk about his changeup he has.
Yeah.
His changeup's also filthy. And again, that all plays off of 99 and 100. I mean, Dylan Cease was hitting 100 multiple times in outings as a starting pitcher. Mason Miller came up as a starting pitcher. He has the ability to do that. And to me, I don't know why you wouldn't just try it. And here's the thing, guys. Here's whatever, like the people that are like for him closing. Yeah, he'd be the best closer in baseball. He is already. But I'm telling you right now, if it doesn't work, you have one off season and a spring training to see if it's going to work. And if he starts getting arm issues again, or he starts feeling pain, or it just looks like it's not comfortable, or you don't think you can shut him down from being a starter and throw him into the bullpen. And that's the one chance you have. I think you have one chance to make this guy a starter, and it's this season, and that's it. And after that, forget about it. He could just be a good, like, all right, you know what? He's just a closer. But the fact that his changeup and his slider is so elite, and he's got a fastball that goes over 100, which he's not going to have in the 20 starts. I mean, if he gets you 20 starts, which would be phenomenal, by the way, his velo is going to be way lower than that. But I'm telling you, even if his velocity is lower, what do you think it's going to be, like 92? No, it's going to be like upper 90s. Tons of starting pitchers now throw upper 90s anyway.
And even with that, even if he is throwing upper 90s, you know that if he really needs to get a guy out and he knows it's his last inning, or if he knows it's his last batter, you know he's still got 4 or 5 miles an hour that he can put on that.
Yeah.
He can, if he needs to get out of a pinch, and he's been throwing 98, 99 all game, he can reach back and throw 104 once to get out of a jam, to get out of an inning. Can't do it all game, but you know he can do it. A guy like Dylan Cease, if he's throwing 100 consistently, you know he can't reach back and get a little bit more. Mason, you know he can.
I think you got to also phrase this, Frank, and I'm going to phrase this when we come back. It's like, would you rather have Mason Miller try to be a starter for $3 million, or go get some guy that's going to be worse, that's a starter, that's going to cost you like $15 to $20 million? These are the conversations you have to have when you're tight to the budget and you've spent a lot of money and you have a lot of holes you got to fill. You have to start getting creative. I'll give you some names of guys that are going to be starters next year. They're going to cost you $20 million a year. Would you rather have them for 4 or 5 innings, or would you rather have Mason Miller as a potential starter? We'll talk about that when we come back. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Stream your local NFL game live every Sunday all season long, starting at just $30 for your first year. That's like $250 a month. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. All right. More of this conversation I thought we are going to get into today about Mason Miller and being a starter. I agree with Tony Gwynn Jr. Ask Mason Miller. If he doesn't want to be a starter, that just ends it right there. I think you got to clear it with the player. And to me, if he says yes because he was a starter.
Wait a second. These players are human beings that have like bodily autonomy that can do whatever they want when they feel like it. Mm-hmm. Wow. So this isn't like MLB The Show where you just put them somewhere and they can't tell you anything.
That's right.
Wow.
So you ask Mason Miller, see what you got. If he's interested, try it out. What's the worst that can happen? Everybody's just assuming the worst because we're trained as Padres fans that just everything's bad's going to happen all the time. But would you rather do that, or would you rather sign some of the players that are going to cost you $15 to $20 million to be starting pitchers that are okay starting pitchers? I mean, Nick Martinez last year, and I think Nick Martinez is a great pitcher. Nick Martinez last year got $21 million. $21 million. Nick Martinez is a free agent again this year. Are you going to give Nick Martinez $17 to $18 million when you have $20 million to spend this offseason? That's the latest rumor I had. Who knows? You got to go sign. Who are you going to go sign? I mean, you have to fix the starting rotation. The starting rotation is a problem. Your starting rotation right now, you have to replace Michael King and Dylan Cease. They're going to free agency. You're not re-signing those players. Yu Darvish's future remains uncertain. If he retires, that frees up $15 million or whatever it is, $17 million. Joe Musgrove's coming back from Tommy John surgery. Nick Pivetta will be back. Brandy Vasquez at the back end. That's three guys. You got to throw JP Sears out there again? People are like, I'd rather have Adrian Morejon. I'd rather have both of them. I'd rather have Morejon and Miller in the starting rotation. Go find bullpen arms. They're not going to cost you as much. Starting pitching costs you a ton of money. You going to go make a trade for a starting pitcher? The reason why you have to have this conversation is because you're trying to find the best way to make a roster with what you have for resources, what you have with money, what you can do with trades. I mean, I just keep going back to like Sean Manaea getting $25 million a year. I mean, would you rather go invest $20-something million in a Sean Manaea type player, or see if you could get some value out of Mason Miller as a starter? And the farm system is loaded with bullpen arms. What's the hurt in trying it? Again, you try it to a level until you see if his arm can handle it. He came up, as mentioned, as a starting pitcher. I've been trying to pull up his minor league stats for the last 8 minutes, but my screen keeps going blank, so it's hard to navigate. All right, here we go. He only pitched 16 games in the minor leagues. That's pretty impressive. Remember, he was a starting pitcher at Gardner-Webb. Makes a lot of sense. College pitcher. Made 38 starts in college, made 15 starts in the minors. Has made 6 MLB starts. He had a 7-inning start against the Mariners of shutout ball in his rookie year. I think you only attempt this one time. And I think you do it with Morejon too this offseason. See if they can become starters, because I think it solves a lot of your problems. If it doesn't work this year, you're done doing it. And then he's just the bullpen piece. He came up as a minor league starting pitcher. That means he has the ability to be a starting pitcher. And to me, he's more valuable as a starting pitcher than he is as a closer because closers are luxuries that a lot of teams sometimes can't afford. Why pitch him just in a situation to hold the lead when you can have him pitch for like 3 or 4 innings, 4 or 5 innings? Again, it's about creating value and trying to build a roster. And right now, you don't have the amount of money available, at least being reported, to fix all of the problems that you currently have with the roster. This is why you have to have this conversation, Frank.
Oh, I agree. And this is, again, to reiterate from last segment, this is not that he can't be a closer. He's not good enough to be a closer. It's not that. It's you're trying to get the most value out of him that you can. And the most value you can get out of him is as a starting pitcher. Again, like you said, if it doesn't work, then fine, you move into the bullpen. It helps the younger kids. It helps the David Morgans of the world. It helps the Bradley Rodriguez's of the world come in, get their playing time up in the major leagues, which is something they couldn't really do last year because the bullpen was so clogged. And with the way the bullpen was being used last year with the 4 horsemen and the 5 horsemen and the 4 horsemen 2.0 were being used, run into the ground. They weren't really getting those opportunities until they had no other options. So it's a win-win. You don't necessarily need to go and find bullpen arms if those 2 guys work, or even if one of them works coming up to the starting rotation, because you've got a bunch of young players in the minor leagues, whether they be in San Antonio or in AAA El Paso, that can fill those roles.
To me, with Mason Miller, too, because somebody brings up, what if he turns into Jordan Hicks? Mason Miller's slider and changeup are a little bit better than Jordan Hicks' slider and changeup.
And what do you say? And again, what do you say if he turns into Jordan Hicks? Well, back to the bullpen.
Back to the bullpen.
Yeah,
that's the luxury of him being a bullpen arm. Give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, you can move him back to the bullpen.
You know what he can do in the bullpen. You know what the answer is there. It's okay. He's learned. He's matured. Let's see if he can do this starting thing now.
We're also acting like the Padres haven't done this 4 times already.
Did it with Nick Martinez. You went the other way with Nick Martinez. He was a starter. They moved to the bullpen.
And they went back to being a starter.
Yes. Did it with
Seth Lugo.
Seth Lugo.
I don't know. When the Padres acquired Michael King.
Yeah.
Michael King was another one of those guys.
He was always a starter. The Yankees couldn't work him into the rotation. That was why he didn't break in there.
Still, wasn't a starter when they acquired him. They acquired him to be a starter. He threw the most innings ever with the Padres after he was throwing a bunch of games for the Yankees, not as starts. Threw 104 innings his last year in New York, 173 the next year. I guess you could say, well, now he's injury prone, but him sleeping on the wrong side of his bed.
And Steven Gutierrez, what does it doesn't work mean? Getting injured? No, it means he gets shelled as a starting pitcher. He can't go more than 2 or 3
Slider,
innings.
It doesn't look the same.
Yeah, if pitches don't look the way they did. He doesn't have the same command, velocity, control. That's what we mean by it not working. He's not going to work as a starter. Back to the bullpen, throw your hardest, whip that slider, do whatever you got to do.
Correct. I think it'd be foolish not to try it, especially with where you're at. Now, if the Padres had endless amounts of money, they could just go get a bunch of starters, then yeah, why move them? There's no reason to. But the fact of the matter is you don't. Where are you going to find starting pitching? I'd love to know where you think you're going to find starting pitching. Which one of these guys you want for a lot more money than you're paying Mason Miller? Because I'm going to tell you right now, before anybody starts mentioning Ranger Suarez, Framber Valdez, or Dylan Cease, Merrill Kelly, you're probably not going to afford any of those guys.
Nope, no shot.
You're looking at the range of Patrick Corbin, Kyle Hendricks, Zach Littell, Mike Soroka, Zach Gallen, Griffin Canning, Aaron Savali, Dustin May, Chris Paddock. Which one of those guys do you want instead where you're going to have to spend some money? That's what I'm saying. Again, I don't think people are listening to the plan of this, of Let him figure it out this offseason. Ask him if he's interested. Let him get into shape. Try him out in spring training. And you will know by the end of spring training whether or not you think you can use him as a starting pitcher. And if you can't, you put him into the bullpen and you never have this conversation again. But you got to find a way to get starting pitching innings. And unless you're going to roll out there with JP Sears, a lot of Randy Vasquez starts. Johnny Brito's back, baby. Those are the players that you're going to have to potentially try to go sign to win with. Ryan Yarbrough, Marcus Stroman at age 35.
Oh, God.
Mike Clevenger, he's available.
Hey.
Edmond Marquez, Charlie Morton, Miles Michaelis. Are you telling me Mason Miller couldn't be better than these guys? I mean, those guys are going to cost you more money than Mason Miller. So, or you take a chance that you find a Nick Pivetta again.
Now, just to throw some fire onto the other side for a second, you're going to be without Jason Adam until at least after the first half of the season. That would be another reason that I haven't seen in the chat yet why you would argue to keep Miller in the bullpen, why you would keep Morahone in the bullpen, because you're going to be missing Jason Adam until at least after the All-Star break, probably until August, because he's going to need time to ramp up. That's just playing devil's advocate, though. I don't think that I don't think
who's
going to
be in the bullpen if you move these guys?
Yes.
I don't know, Bradley Rodriguez.
No, I understand. No, I'm just saying.
I mean, I don't have a problem. Thing is,
I'm not fighting for that side. I'm just saying.
I'm answering the devil's advocate. You can't just bring up a devil's advocate and just be like, oh, well, this is the. Look at the relief pitchers that you can go get. You can go buy guys in the bullpen that are going to eat you innings and not going to pitch a lot, and they're not going to cost you a lot. You could go get players to pitch in the bullpen. You're welcome. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. You want to talk about the ALCS yesterday, Frank?
Sure.
Get a little World Series preview. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, a couple things to get to here on the Braden Surprenant Show. We'll get to the fact that this hour is brought to you by Toyota of Poway, voted San Diego's #1 Toyota dealer by USA Today, with APRs as low as 0% and tons of new Toyotas on the ground. No tricks, only treats during the Trucktober sales event, happening now only at Toyota of Poway or online at toyotapoway.com in the heart of San Diego. We do want to talk about the LCS. We want to talk about the World Series matchup. Yeah, as much as we can. Safe travels to our boy Crum, who's working the game. He's working the World Series. He's going to Canada for the first time. He's leaving the country for the first time.
I was going to say, it's for what you said during the break, it sounds like he's going to have an interesting old time getting into Canada.
He's I told him he was complaining. So last night he was like hoping Seattle would win just because, and he's unbiased. He didn't really care. But the travel between Seattle and LA is a lot better than the travel from LA to Toronto. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of sucks. Plus, you got to go through customs. And he goes, what is that? I'm like, what do you mean, what is that? He's like, I was like, have you never left the country? Which is, you know what? That's not everybody has been fortunate enough to travel abroad. I'm like, have you never been to Mexico? No. Okay. He's like, is security the same? And I said, kind of. You're going to have to go through customs every time you land during the series. Like, if they go back to Toronto, you're going to have to do it again. So you're going to have to go through customs in Toronto, and then you're going to have to go through customs again when you get to LA for the LA portion of the World Series. And if it goes more than, what is it, 5 games? If it gets to game 6, you're flying back to Toronto to go through customs. And if it ends in 6 games, you're flying back to San Diego to have to go through customs again.
Okay. That
guy's going to have to go through customs once in Toronto, once back in LA, once in Toronto, and then back home. If it goes 6 games, minimum of 6 games, he's got to go through customs 4 times in about a week and a half span for a guy that's never had to do it. Interesting.
We're a fun-loving entertainment show. We know.
Yes, he does have a passport. He had to get one of those. Cody.
Yes, he does. He does have a passport. We know that there are people that lurk from Los Angeles that listen to this show. We see them in the chat every time we mention the Dodgers. If any one of you just so happens to work at LAX at TSA, please give Crum the full TSA experience. I'm talking rubber glove and everything.
Wow.
Just to show how bad it can be.
He left San Diego's airport today. He's like, security, like leaving is not the problem. It's when you land in the other country. You have to go, and you got to go through all these things. I mean, every country is different.
That's why at LAX, if anyone works for TSA at LAX, have some fun with Crum. Have some fun with our boy, please.
Our friend. Oh yeah, I've gotten the 4S check every time I've left this country. It's not a lot. Like, I have to take off my shoes. They do the gunpowder thing, and then they have to open the bag when you're getting on the plane. I've had to do that every time. I do it every time. I had to do it for coming back from Mexico. I had to do it coming back from Italy, and it's on your boarding pass, and that means you can't download it to your phone. You have to physically check in at the thing. I hope he gets that now. That's actually great.
If it's from Toronto to San Diego after the series is over, somebody please plant a bottle of ketchup on his bag and send him to Mexico. Just plant the bottle of ketchup, make everyone think he's going to Mexico to put ketchup on his tacos. He will never be allowed out of the country again.
He's currently flying to Toronto right now. Clay, yes, he could have applied for global. He's not leaving the country ever, except for like this particular situation. So there's no reason for him to apply for global entry.
And go Aztecs. It's not called being devious. It's called having fun. It's called harmless fun.
So we'll see how that goes. Our friend Perez goes, quote, Crum in Canada is a social media series I would run if I was the Fox social coordinator. I honestly think that would be great content.
That would be fantastic.
Crum in Canada. Make him go try Tim Hortons and stuff. All the local fast food places.
A crumb of Toronto.
A crumb of Toronto. What a great, you know what? We're onto something here, Fox. You have a utility working on your crew for the he does the pregame, the pre and post game crew. So he gets to work with Derek Jeter and those guys. He says they're super cool. So he gets to be,
I don't care if he's cool. Call Jeter an a-hole for me, please.
He didn't say A-Rod was very cool.
Which
I've heard from multiple times. I've heard that multiple times. But anyway, Crumb in Canada would be a great bit. Would be a just phenomenal bit.
And Fox, I will give you that, a crumb of Toronto name.
Crumb of Toronto.
For a friendly discount of 95% of the proceeds.
I got to hear what he thinks about Tim Hortons. What else? Poutine fries? What else does he need to try? What else is very Canadian food-wise? I know it's not the noon hour yet, but...
Anything with maple syrup on it.
That's true. That's pretty true. What does Canada know for? Poutine and Tim Hortons?
Pretty much, yeah.
I think that's it.
Hockey.
You should buy us a hockey stick or something. Sneak that through Customs, San Diego. See, I feel like Toronto's got to go through this every single road trip. They got to go through Customs every single road trip. The Raptors have to go through Customs every single road trip. At least in hockey, there's enough Canadian teams where they don't have to do it every single time, but still. Brutal. Crumb of Toronto. That's a great, you know what? That should be your application to Fox, be a producer.
Like I said, a discount, a generous discount of I get 95% of the proceeds. A generous discount.
Sponsored by Tim Hortons.
Yes. Sponsored by Timmy's.
Cheese curds and gravy all day. What'd you think of the ALCS, Frank?
Fun. Very, very exciting. Regardless of it being a 7-game series, it was a very, very fun series to watch. And again, to last night's game, you have Julio Rodriguez doing what you need to do. Julio Rodriguez, a big go-ahead solo home run. Cal Raleigh hitting the most home runs in American League history in a single season, regular season and playoffs included, at 65. The top 4 were all Yankees. And no, they were not all Aaron Judge. Raleigh now owns that record with 65 home runs total between the regular season and the postseason this year in American League history. And then you get that incredible moment in the 7th inning with George Springer's go-ahead 3-run home run. Unbelievable. The roof flew off the Rogers Center. Unbelievable game all the way around. Great series by both teams. It's a shame that one of them had to lose, and it's going to be a shame that now Toronto has earned the right to lose to the Dodgers in the World Series.
Oh, Rod even put the it's funny. I don't know why I didn't say this, because we have this. We pronounce it Tutke. I don't know how it's actually supposed to be pronounced. I never know how to spell it. Rod's got it. We have that the night before Thanksgiving every single year in my family. It is absolutely disgusting.
Tortilla?
My family calls it Tutke.
That's definitely not it.
All right, let me tell my French.
Google.
Let me tell my French Canadian relatives that they
Google Translate.
Right. Tutke.
Google Translate. Hold on.
I don't trust Google Translate because they mispronounce Italian words all the time. Well, ricotta. No. Anyway, traditional French Canadian meat pie. It's a bunch of ground meat and stuff like that mixed with a lot of cloves. There's a lot of cloves in that thing. My grandmother makes it. And you know what you serve it with? Pickled beets. Ugh. They make it the night before Thanksgiving. The Surprenants do, because I'm French Canadian. So the Surprenants make the Tutke, and it is disgusting.
So I'm seeing a picture of it now.
It's gross.
So what you've done is you've put haggis in a pie instead of the lining of a sheep's stomach is what you've done.
Basically. I don't know.
You've
Meat? Yeah, exactly.
You've put haggis in a pie crust instead of the lining of the sheep's stomach.
I
Got it.
refuse to participate in Tutke.
I
My uncle one
I
time
would
said
as
it.
well.
My uncle one time said it. It was great. Great comment. There's not enough ketchup in the world to make me eat Tutke. I won't do it. Yeah, I don't like cloves. I don't like the meat pie. I will not participate.
As the great philosopher Colonel Sanders once said, "I'm too drunk to taste this chicken."
Yeah. The pickled beets with the Tutke meat pie.
Anyone
The
who's
day
watched-
before Thanksgiving. I don't know why the Surprenant do that, but they do. And I will not be carrying on that tradition. Maybe it's something when you turn like 45 or older, it starts tasting good. My cousins love it. I think it's disgusting.
Anyone who's watched Talladega Nights, by the way, is howling at my reference.
Yes. Cody in Wyoming. Canadian Thanksgiving or USA Thanksgiving? I didn't say on Thanksgiving. I said the night before Thanksgiving is when the Tutke gets busted out. That's a no for me, big dog. Especially with the beets. Ketchup, not going to get it done. Worcestershire sauce, not enough. I will eat something else.
Tourtière, I believe.
Tourtière. They call it Tutke. I don't know why. Maybe that's the American version of it when they came over from French Canada. All right. Did we get to the bottom of El Paso posting a Snell congratulations 3 days after they won?
They got so much flack for it, they deleted the tweet, and rightfully so.
And then the River Cats said you beat us to it,
Yes.
but also beat LA always. They put that in there. That wasn't great for our Chihuahuas. They probably just didn't know. Dodgers and Blue Jays.
Wait, what do you
will be
mean
in the
they
World Series.
didn't know?
They probably just the poor guy that just is from El Paso that doesn't know. I don't know how you could think that was going to be a good idea to tweet out. So anyway, Blue Jays and Dodgers in the World Series. That will start up on, was that Friday? Game 1's on Friday?
Yes, game 1 is on Friday. It'll be Friday, Saturday, day off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, day off Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
There is another name surfacing with interest in the Padres managerial job. We'll tell you who that is when we come back to start the noon lunchtime hour and what happened over the NFL weekends. A lot of football talk in the next hour as well. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97.3 The Fan.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
New lunchtime hour on 97.3 The Fan. This hour is brought to you by your local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires. All guests on 97.3 The Fan join us via the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. All right, a couple of things I need to get to. Yeah, we were going to talk about the NFL weekend in just a little bit in this hour as we're starting the third hour of the show. We also want to mention there was a report that came out today about another name being interested in the Padres managerial job. We will tell you who that is, but we have to get to what we missed. And I don't say we, what I missed. And that is today's sports thread.
Tony Gwynn Jr. here from my friends at SDCCU. Research shows that access to books...
Okay.
That was a lot at one time.
It was a lot at one time.
Okay, so we had like our intro music, and then we also had a Ben and Woods, and then Tony Gwynn Jr. was talking.
Yeah, he was.
What in the world was... I mean,
that
as somebody that has sat in that seat for a long time, I know exactly what probably happened.
You want to go ahead, take a guess.
It's just I just know with wide orbit.
Take a guess.
Yeah, but if I say it, nobody's gonna have any idea what I'm saying anyway. So I know what happened.
So you see what had happened was
Everything's in the same pot.
something was still playing the Open when he called for that, because I thought we were going to go a little bit deeper into the Padres managerial news.
Wow, if I teased you, that means I teased the audience.
So
Good on me for that.
I was not paying attention, and I did not shut the music off as I should. Then when I pressed once, it pressed another thing.
Oh, you double clicked.
And then
The double
it
tap.
pressed another thing,
Mm-hmm.
which then completely ruined everything. So
The double tap is only good in Zombieland. In this particular sense, the double tap, not great.
So what I now need to do is
Charge yourself for a foul.
Well, I will do that in a second. However, I need to
You double dipped the
rebuild.
chip. You double dipped the chip.
I did.
He
I
double
dipped.
dipped the chip.
See, what I did was
If you walk out of the bathroom with your shirt off, I'm going to start calling you George.
I'm good.
You
I will
double
not do
dipped
that.
the chip.
So here's what's going to happen.
Okay.
I've already rebuilt the brake. So now I'm going to press this button
Okay.
and everything is going to be fine.
You know that group chat, the one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk. Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Stop sitting on the sidelines. QC Kinetics gets you back in the game without surgery. To learn how, visit QCkinetics.com.
All right, Frank, what's going on in the sports world today that's not Padres related?
A lot of firings and a lot of hot seat discussion. So we'll start off in the National Football League.
Number 1.
Coach Brian DeBoll says he is not considering any major staff changes after the Giants allowed 33 points in the fourth quarter of their stunning 33-32 loss to the Denver Broncos on Sunday. The Giants became the first team in 1,603 NFL games to blow a lead of at least 18 points with less than 6 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. That put the attention specifically on the defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen, as it should have, after several key defensive players weren't pleased with the play call on the first snap of the Broncos' game-winning drive with 33 seconds to go. When you do something as historic as that, someone kind of needs to catch some heat for that, no?
Yeah, but I don't know. Are you going to fire him right now and just go through the process? I mean, are you going to call him out in the media? I mean, I'm sure there were some inner conversations about it, but what is not great for the Giants is giving up 33 points in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be fair, the defensive coordinator was doing a good job for the first three quarters.
Is that last
shutting out
one.
the Broncos for the first three quarters? It was just that kind of the last one that things went awry.
Yeah, it happens.
And they gave up 33 points in Denver. You know what? No lead is safe in Denver, right? The Mile High City. I mean, that was a Coors Field special.
Mile
33,
high.
32.
Emphasis on the high.
Giants were up 13-0 or 19-0 going into the fourth quarter.
Yes, they were.
And they were up 26-8 with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And then gave up how many points? He gave up a ton of points.
33 points in the fourth
33 points in the fourth quarter. They gave up,
including after going up 32-30, giving up a couple of big plays with less than a minute to go to move the Broncos into field goal range. Not Giant losing on a walk-off field goal range either, which is 60 plus yards. It was a chip shot field goal range.
The Giants, the Broncos with under 10 minutes to go went on a 25-3 run to beat the New York Giants. That 3, by the way, 25-7 run. The Giants took the lead back with 37 seconds to go.
Yep, that they did.
To make it 32-30, and the Broncos got with 37 seconds. The Broncos went 4 plays, 56 yards to kick a 39-yard field goal.
One of the
dumpster fire.
One of the Giants' defensive players was caught screaming in the tunnel, "Why the bleep are we going cover 8 on the first play?"
On the first play of the last drive?
The last drive, yes.
Yeah. I mean, running a cover, you get super conservative there. This is where, like, running a prevent defense doesn't help you. Like, if you're just trying to keep them out of the end zone, you can run a prevent defense. But if now with NFL kickers being able to hit 60-yard field goals, and it's in Denver, so you know the ball's going to be able to travel, why change what you've been doing? Bring some pressure. Don't let him sit back there and make a play.
And as far as Steve Bowen is concerned, the defensive coordinator, or Shane Bowen, whatever his name is, I already closed the thing out. Don't care that much. Coaches in the NFL don't usually get fired in the middle of the season unless you just cannot stand being in the room with them anymore.
Correct.
So if anything's going to change, that's why Mike McDaniel's still in Miami. Unless you just cannot physically look at them without being ill, then nothing's going to change during the season.
Number 2.
Amid speculation about Florida State coach Mike Norvell and
how did he make it back to
security,
Tallahassee, by the way?
Apparently, they can still look at him without being violently ill. Following a 4th straight loss, athletic director Michael Alford said in a statement on Monday that a comprehensive review of the football program will happen when the season is over. The Seminoles opened the year with a 31-17 win over Alabama and started 3-0. Boy, those look like the times. Before a Friday night double overtime loss to Virginia began their 4-game slide. Florida State has lost all 4 games by 1 score going back to last season. Florida State has lost 9 straight ACC games. He's gone at the end of the year, right? Like that's code for he's gone.
Yeah, that's we're just trying to find the money for his buyout and send him packing. How about the state of Florida right now? Their football teams.
Well,
Billy Napier got fired at Florida. Florida State's Mike Norvell is about to get fired. They're not looking good. Miami, who was rolling, lost to Louisville at home on Friday night. Dolphins are a dumpster fire. Tampa Bay is not bad, but they just got wrecked by the Detroit Lions. Anybody am I missing? USF's having a decent year. I mean, Miami was having a good year until they lost the game to Louisville. Miami now is not in control of their own destiny for the ACC championship game, by the way.
Sid the Sloth throwing 4 interceptions, by the way, in that game for Miami.
Not great.
Nope.
Not great.
Not, including one on the last drive, which was actually a really good interception. That was a big play that kid made. Next up.
Number 3.
Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa will remain the team's starting quarterback. Coach Mike McDaniel confirmed on Monday, despite the worst statistical 2-game stretch of his career. Tagovailoa was pulled from Sunday's loss to the Cleveland Browns in favor of rookie Quinn Ewers. Although the change came with roughly 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Dolphins trailing 31-6. He completed 12 of 23 passes. Good Lord. For 100 yards and 3 interceptions. Wow. 3 interceptions. His second consecutive 3 interception game. Oh, I thought those were Ewers' stats. I thought those were Tagovailoa's stats. He's currently tied in the NFL with 10 interceptions, tied for the lead with 10 interceptions, but McDaniel said the Dolphins, 1-6, aren't looking to make any changes at this time.
Them changing the quarterback's not going to change anything with them. They're bad. They got to fire the GM. They got to fire the head coach, and they got to move on. And Tua is not their biggest problem right now. So yeah, stick with Tua.
I would agree.
Number 4.
Florida Athletic Director Scott Strickland said Monday that he has one goal when it comes to hiring the next football coach: find someone who can win championships. During a news conference in Gainesville, Florida, Strickland said that his decision to fire Billy Napier on Sunday following a 3-4 start to the season was ultimately because, quote, we did not win to the level we needed to. Napier went 22-23 in 4 seasons with the Gators, including a 12-16 record in SEC play. Although Strickland credited Napier for leaving Florida a much better place than when he found it, including modernizing the football program structure. He also said the two had a long conversation about whether Napier should give up play calling heading into this season. So from what that sounds like, the writing was already on the wall that he wanted something with Napier to change, didn't want to change, so this was the only recourse.
Well, didn't meet the championship goals. I don't know how many. Here's the thing with the SEC that they're slowly starting to understand. It's harder to make the playoff and to win championships when you loaded up your league with all of these schools that want to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean, like, want to do the same thing, I mean, obviously every team wants to do the same thing. Not every school necessarily wants to win at football or are going to put the resources in for it. But you collectively grab, what, they got 16 teams in that league now? 18,
so.
16? We got 16 schools that all, in the SEC that are all blue blood organizations that want to go out and win a national championship. Somebody has to lose. And whoever spends the most money in that conference is going to be winning all the time. I mean, that is going to be a conference where there are going to be rotating coaches every 2 to 3 years. I mean, not every one of those schools can win. And you can say what you want. I think that league's a little bit overrated in general, but it's definitely a passionate group, and they all think that they can win, and they ain't all winning. And they're not all going to make the playoff either. Texas and Oklahoma leaving the Big 12 was dumb because they could have dominated the Big 12, although they didn't really do that. Oklahoma did. Texas didn't. And they could have been guaranteed to be in the playoff every single year, and you could have stability and just be part of the conversation all the time. Instead, they all signed up to be Nebraska, and now you have all these teams battling for limited spots. You decided to make the Super League. Here's the downsides of having Super Leagues. You're not going to be good anymore. There's too many teams. Everybody's going to be like around the same because of the scheduling, everything like that. Not going to have a bunch of 10-2 SEC schools. You're going to have a bunch of 4-loss and 3-loss SEC schools that think that they deserve to be in a college football playoff, but you decided to do this for money. I don't feel bad for any of you. You decided to do this for money. And now you're complaining that we can't win in this conference. And hey, this is why you should have spread things out a little bit. Instead, you took all the good teams and put them in one conference. Then you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That's all we're going to really have time for in the sports thread. Big thanks to Frank on that. When we come back, we have some updates on some interviews that happened for the Padres for their managerial job, an interview that's going to happen tomorrow, and someone who's interested in the job. Broadcaster for the Padres. We'll talk about that when we come back. San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. There's a lot of college football chatter going on in the YouTube chat. We're going to get to college football in a second. And a dumb tweet by one of our colleagues at BetMGM, at BetQL, about college football. We got to stop letting bettors tell fans how this should be for the league and stuff like that. No, stop it. College football was one of the best ever. It still is one of the best. It's starting to trend towards a different direction because of a lot of the things that people in the chat are talking about. We're going to talk about that later on in the 1 o'clock hour. All right, let's talk about the latest on the managerial search for the Padres, okay? Did you get this, see this pop up today, Frank?
I did see it, yes.
Dennis Lin had an article today about a Padres broadcaster. How about that for a tease? That is interested in the Padres managerial job. Carlos Hernandez. Did you think it was going to be Don or Mud? Oh, Mud.
I was going to congratulate Jesse Agler on his being considered for the job, and then
Let's make this clear. Carlos Hernandez is interested. It didn't say the Padres were necessarily interested in Carlos Hernandez. I don't remember that being a part of this article, but let's get
I'm
through
interested in being the Padre manager.
Yeah, you know what? Add it to the list. I am not. I have zero interest in being the Padres manager. Let me tell you. I don't even want to get. I'm like Woods. I don't want to be wined and dined about it. Woods says he doesn't even know how to use PowerPoint, so he can't even put together the PowerPoint presentation to explain why you should be the manager. I know how to use PowerPoint. I don't want to use it. I haven't used that since I was in not even high school.
It's good that Woodsy doesn't know how to use PowerPoint because the rage is Google Slides now.
It's the same thing.
I know it's the same thing, but
it's like Google Sheets and Excel.
Exactly. I use Google Sheets partly because I don't have a Microsoft account to get.
Yeah,
Excel
why pay
and
for a
Word and
Microsoft
PowerPoint.
account? Exactly. All right, Carlos Hernandez. I mean, Clay in the South Bay is interested in the job.
No, there was a but at the end of that.
Yeah, who knows what that was for. Carlos Hernandez, former Padres catcher, 1998 World Series starter, longtime Spanish language broadcaster, has publicly stated his desire to become the next San Diego Padres manager. Hernandez, who's 58, told The Athletic he feels, quote, it's time that he wants to, quote, bring a championship to San Diego. After playing 10 MLB seasons with the Dodgers, Padres, and Cardinals, he transitioned into coaching and broadcasting. His managerial experience includes leading the Toros de Tijuana to the postseason in 2004 and managing in Venezuelan winter ball with Leones del Caracas. He also worked as a catching coordinator for both the Padres and the Diamondbacks. For the last 14 years, Carlos Hernandez has served as the Padres Spanish language TV and radio color analyst, giving him constant proximity to the players and organization. His bilingual background and deep cultural ties could be an asset for the Padres clubhouse, led by Latin American stars like Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. Despite limited MLB coaching experience, Hernandez cites inspiration from mentors like Bruce Bochy, Tony La Russa, and the late Jerry Coleman. The latter once made a similar leap from the broadcast booth to Padres manager in 1980. Hernandez envisions himself following the path of Bob Brenly, everybody's favorite Diamondbacks broadcaster here in San Diego, another ex-catcher turned broadcaster who won a World Series managing the Diamondbacks in 2001. He says his managerial philosophy would emphasize trust, communication, and cultural understanding. Quote, when you play and feel comfortable and feel good, you're going to give 100%, and you've got to know where they're coming from. Hernandez has yet to contact Padres Baseball of Operations AJ Preller, but says he'd be open to other MLB opportunities. Still, he admits San Diego remains his top choice. The Padres also mentioned in this article, it is mentioned that the San Diego Padres managerial search is ongoing with known candidates, including Albert Pujols, who's interviewing tomorrow, Ruben Niebla, Mark Loretta, and Brian Esposito. It sounds like, and here's what the latest report was, the 46-year-old Esposito is the first candidate known to have an interview in the books with the Padres, though the team may have already sat down with other internal candidates like pitching coach Ruben Niebla or special assistant Mark Loretta. As for external candidates, Albert Pujols is set to interview with San Diego on Wednesday as the future Hall of Famer continues to explore his first foray into managing at the MLB level. Esposito is technically a former teammate of Albert Pujols, as one of Esposito's 3 career Major League games as a player came with the 2007 Cardinals. A cup of coffee in St. Louis and 2 games with the 2010 Astros compromised the big league portion of Esposito's 13-year playing career that was otherwise spent in the minors with 7 different organizations. Unless he gets the manager's job himself, Esposito's status could be up in the air heading into 2026, along with the rest of the San Diego coaching staff, because naturally a new skipper will get some say in assembling his own staff. Esposito's chances of remaining as a bench coach could be improved if a familiar face like Ruben Niebla or Mark Loretta gets the job, though since both would be first-time MLB managers, they could prefer to have a more seasoned voice or a former ex-skipper as their top lieutenant. Beyond Esposito, Niebla, Loretta, former Padres bench coach Ryan Flaherty, and ex-Padres catcher Nick Hundley have been linked to the job, though Hundley recently turned down the Giants' job due to family concerns. And then they talked more about the Carlos Hernandez situation. That's the latest on the managerial search. What are your thoughts on that, Frank?
It's interesting the names that you had mentioned, that some of them, such as Flaherty, are not on the candidates list. There were a lot of names that we had mentioned when the news about Mike Schilt broke that you would expect to be candidates for this job, and most of them were not there. You have Esposito on there, you have Mark Loretta on there, and then, of course, the 2 that we already knew about. But guys like Flaherty, who is apparently a contender and a finalist for the job back in 2024, not on that list. So they've already narrowed it down quite a bit as to who they want to talk to, who they have been talking to, which leads me to believe, I honestly think it's really between Niebla and Pujols right now, honestly.
I mean, right now, yeah. I think the only external candidate we've seen them line up, at least been reported for an interview, is Pujols, right?
Yes.
Everybody else is internal?
Yes.
Which I would imagine you probably get all your internal ones out of the way first. It's a lot easier to schedule those. They're in town.
You'd think.
And then you start bringing in other candidates. But we haven't really heard anything else about later in the week about other candidates potentially coming in. Carlos Hernandez, we don't know if he's going to get an interview or if he hasn't even contacted AJ Preller, according to the report from Dennis Lin. Very interesting to be interested in that job. Obviously, we mentioned he's the Padres catcher during the 1998 World Series run, 14-year Padres broadcaster, only the 2nd Venezuelan-born catcher in MLB history. Managed the Mexican League and Venezuelan Winter Ball, coached catchers for Padres and Diamondbacks, deep organizational roots and cultural connection to the current roster. I want to see the San Diego Padres win a championship, and I want to make it as a manager. I was not a superstar, but I played the game right. The best vitamin for me would be every player from Latin America making it to the big leagues. Some direct quotes from Carlos Hernandez. We'll see how this plays out. I'm interested to see how the interview with Albert Pujols goes tomorrow.
Yes.
I don't
think
know.
That's going to be the main focus. I would have to assume that'll be the main focus for a good portion of the show on Thursday, as reports come out probably later on in the day, especially depending upon when the interview is with Albert Pujols. I think we'll be spending a good amount of Thursday discussing his viability, if any details do come out at all.
I like Pujols 1. I like Niebla 2. And then after that, I mean, I don't know how many. I don't think Brian Esposito is going to work. I know he's part of the organization. If they hire Brian Esposito, and this is not like a knock on him. I mean, he obviously knows what he's doing. But like some of these names, like if they hire Albert Pujols, you're like, okay, I could see this.
Yeah.
I could see this. I love the career he had as a big leaguer, the respect level. We've talked about the benefits of Albert Pujols. Maybe he brings in Yadier Molina to be his bench coach. I mean, there's a lot of cool pros with that. That would be taking a big swing higher. I think Ruben Niebla would be like, okay, this makes sense. Let's keep the consistency, the continuity. Let's keep Ruben Niebla part of the pitching staff. He'll probably keep a lot of the things the same from a coaching standpoint. The players obviously we've heard them speak high things, speak very highly of Ruben Niebla. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I like Mark Loretta. Like, Mark Loretta was my favorite player growing up as a kid. But if they hired Mark Loretta or Brian Esposito, do they win the press conference? Not to say that really matters.
No.
But like Mark Loretta coming down to manage the team. He spent some time as a bench coach in Chicago, too, with the Cubs. But is he going to be the guy that gets him over the top? Is Brian Esposito, like Carlos Hernandez? I mean, I'm starting to list some of the names, and it just doesn't feel like this is the guy that's going to get the Padres to accomplish something they've never accomplished yet. Albert Pujols and Ruben Niebla, I can get behind that.
I think that a lot of this comes from it comes down to how likely do you think it is that Ruben Niebla leaves if he doesn't get this job? If you think he's going to leave, I think you hire him as the manager. If you don't think he's going to leave, or if you're okay with him leaving, you hire Pujols. I think both of them, as far as the fan perspective, would be a win as a managerial hire. And I think with that, it kind of comes down to, are you okay, and how likely is it that Ruben Niebla decides to leave if he doesn't get the spot?
Are we really worried about that?
No,
Because
I'm saying, I think
said,
I think that has to be some sort of consideration to it. He is under contract for the next couple of years, but that hasn't stopped coaches from.
No, I mean, are we worried about him? Are we worried
permission.
about the pitching staff just crumbling without him being there?
No,
I'm not.
I'm not.
Because
No.
this is the same conversation they had about Darren Balsley for years. Darren Balsley. He was the guy, right? He was like, we can't lose this guy. We can't lose this pitching coach. And guess what? They lost him. And then they found Ruben Niebla. Now, Larry Rothschild was in between, so that was kind of bad. But you know what? You're going to be able to find other pitching coaches. Like Nima in the chat says, the problem he has with Niebla would be having to backfill a pitching coach. Why don't you just hire the bullpen coach, who's done a great job working the pitching staff? He gets an upgrade too. I think there's ways around it.
I think.
Do we think Albert Pujols has too much of an ego to be a manager?
No,
I don't think so either. I don't even really think is Albert Pujols an ego guy? I mean, I don't know. I haven't had an interaction with him.
I've never really seen that. I've never really gotten that vibe with him.
No, I haven't either. I haven't gotten any vibe of Albert Pujols being a big ego guy. There is some concern about great players don't necessarily make great coaches, but
Wayne Gretzky.
I think Albert Pujols is worth the opportunity.
And Adam Paul's mentioned in the chat, but would you be comfortable with waiting so long, especially with Pujols being interviewed by a couple other teams? Maybe give it a call to Toronto, see if Don Mattingly would be interested in hiring again, managing again. It would be one of his better managing opportunities. He'd be back on the West Coast managing. Maybe that's a door. Maybe that's a tire you kick.
I think it's all open right now. I in this day and age of how baseball's run, how a lot of it's run from the front office and you're managing personalities, I think guys like Albert Pujols and Ruben Niebla get the respect from the clubhouse. And to me, that's all that really matters. Because a lot of the solutions to the Padres' problems, especially with Slug, is making sure Manny and Tatis are happy. So honestly, in the grand scheme of things, whoever is going to make them happy, I'm for. Because those are your players that you're paying the most money to do the most damage. They need to be in the right frame of mind to go out there and compete every single day. And there's been coaches that have been really good coaches we've seen in this organization not gel well with guys like Fernando or even Manny. And to me, that needs to be priority number one. And if those guys don't respect the manager coming in, then you're going to be screwed. That's how I think it. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. It's time to talk about NFL football. Let's get to the whip around when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour 97 to the fans brought to you by Toyota Poway, but San Diego's #1 Toyota dealer by USA Today, with APRs as low as 0% and tons of new Toyotas on the ground. No tricks, only treats during the Trucktober sales event happening now only at Toyota Poway or online at toyotapoway.com in the heart of San Diego. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. What happened this weekend in the NFL? Let's get to the NFL whip around.
Oh, boy, we got a plethora of games that has happened over the weekend. The now 5-2 Los Angeles Rams beating the Jacksonville Jaguars 35-7. Jags fall to 4-3, back-to-back losses after beating the Kansas City Chiefs on that Monday Night Football game.
Yep, Jags coming back down to earth. Rams are a good football team. Now they're 5-2, and their two losses, one of them was to Philly on the road, which they should have won, and they let that one slip away. I think the Rams are one of the teams in the NFC that are going to be a team that you have to, they're a team to beat in the NFC. I think they're starting to rise to the top here. They've already shown that they can go toe-to-toe with the Eagles on the road twice. Saw that last year in the playoffs. You're starting it now. Saw it this year in the regular season. I like what they're doing offensively. They're a good football team, and they showed it internationally against the Jags with 35-7 beatdown of Jacksonville.
The Chicago Bears are on quite a run right now. They are on a 4-game winner as the Bears defeat the now 1-6 New Orleans Saints 26-14 in Chi-Town.
Yeah, Chicago finally getting a little bit of a run here. This is the year that I thought is a prove-it year for Caleb Williams because they finally improved his roster around him. And the Browns done well. The Bears have done well. They beat the Cowboys, beat up on the Raiders, the Commanders, etched them out by 1 point in Washington the other day, and then another good win over the Saints. Not necessarily the hardest stretch of games of 4 in a row, but you're about to find out. They got the Ravens, the Bengals, the Giants. The last place schedule continues throughout the middle part there. But I think they're winning despite some struggles from Caleb Williams. Again, Caleb Williams on Sunday against the Saints, 15 for 26, 172 and a pick. He's not going to light it up on a fantasy scoreboard, let me tell you that. But got to take care of business against a team that might be one of the worst teams in the National Football League, if not the worst, the New Orleans Saints. It's amazing they got a win. It's amazing they got one win. Spencer Rattler continues to throw picks galore. He threw 3 interceptions against the Bears on Sunday. They are awful, and I feel bad for the San Diego kids, Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, who are on that team.
Clay and South Bay, crank it up. The Cleveland Browns, now 2-5 after a convincing win against the Miami Dolphins, 31-6. Dolphins now fall to 1-6. One of 3 teams now with that glorious 1-6 record.
Yeah, not great. The Dolphins are garbage. The Dolphins need to fire everybody. The Dolphins need to start over. They're trash.
They absolutely are.
And the Browns, good for them, getting a win. Hey, first win post Joe Flacco era. Cleveland improving to 2-5. 2-2 at home, by the way.
The New England Patriots continue their run through what has proven to be a pretty weak schedule. They're now 5-2 after beating the now 1-6 Tennessee Titans 31-13 at Nissan Stadium this past weekend.
Good for Mike Vrabel. The New England Patriots didn't view this as like a big game to try to get revenge for Mike Vrabel, who got fired by Tennessee, which was a lousy move by the Titans. You get added to a list of moves the Titans have made that have basically ruined their franchise over the last 5 or 6 years, back when they were actually a perennial playoff contender for a long period of time. They have been awful under this regime that they have had, and I don't even know if they fired their GM or not. I know they fired their head coach. Titans suck. Just gonna flat out say it. But the Patriots on a 4-game winning streak. They've won 5 of the last 6. They got Cleveland coming up and Atlanta. Winnable games for New England. The Patriots, they're making a case. They're making a case to be a team in the AFC. I don't think they're at that level yet, just based on some of the teams that they have beaten. The Panthers are bad, the Saints are bad, and the Titans are bad. The win at Buffalo was a good win for New England, but they also beat the Dolphins. I mean, so 5 of their wins are against, 4 of their 5 wins are against lousy teams. But I think they're starting to come to, and the other thing too, Drake May's playing great. They improved the offensive line from last year. I like the future of the New England Patriots, and you know what? They got some games here coming up that they're very winnable. They're going to beat Cleveland. They're probably going to beat. They're going to play Atlanta at home. I think they win that game. They're going to lose to Tampa. Then they got the Jets. Their win. They're better than the Bengals. Then they got the Giants, and it's not Eli Manning, so I think they'll be okay. And then you got to finish the season. Buffalo at home, who might get you this time. At Baltimore has been very good. At the Jets and the Dolphins. I mean, there is out of those games that I mentioned, they might lose 2 of those games, maybe 3 max. That gets you 5 losses on the year. What is that? 12-5?
I believe so.
Does he play 17 games now in the NFL?
Yes.
12-5 year for the Patriots. That gets you in the playoffs. Patriots are going to be in the postseason. They're continuing to play good football. And you know what? Taking advantage of a last place schedule, just like another team we're going to mention a little bit later.
Another team that looks like they're going to be playoff bound is the Kansas City Chiefs, who shut out the Las Vegas Raiders. Chiefs now 4-3, Raiders 2-5 after a 31-0 win.
We knew this was going to happen. I would have had all my survivor. I wanted to have all my survivor picks in the Chiefs. The Raiders were never going to be the Chiefs. The Raiders are a disaster.
I have a couple of issues with this game.
Why?
The Chiefs taking knees to kill the clock before the 2-minute warning. That bothers me a little bit. As well as the trick play that the Chiefs pulled to try to draw the Raiders offside late in the game. The one that went viral. Like, what? You're up 31-0. We're running trick plays on 4th down against the Raiders? What are we doing?
I don't know. I don't even know why people hate the Raiders anymore. Why would you? Why is there any reason to hate the Raiders? They've been a laughingstock for the last 10 years. They're so bad. Cowboys are interested in trading for Max Crosby. I mean, the Raiders trade away Max Crosby. Who's on their team that anybody cares about? Geno Smith. How long is Pete Carroll going to be the head coach of the Raiders?
The tight end, is their tight end still there?
They got Brock Bowers. Yeah, Brock Bowers is legit. I mean, but they're bad, and they're going to continue to be bad.
Yeah.
2-5 now. Kansas City kind of hanging around at 4-3. I still don't think they're going to make a huge run. They're not as good as they've been in the past, but 3-1 at home.
One team that's not as bad as they have looked is the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Minnesota Vikings over the weekend.
5 on the pressure. Hurts throws down the seam. AJ Brown touchdown. His second of the day.
That one was to put the Philadelphia Eagles up 28-22, which would have been the final. Philadelphia Eagles go to 5-2, Vikings 3-3. That was Adam Amin, NFL on Fox, with the call.
You can say what you want about the Eagles not being as good as they've been in the past, but you know what? They're winning games. Knock off the Vikings, who I thought the Vikings hung tough. I mean, they're around 500 right now. They don't have their starting quarterback. They're playing with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has done okay. It's done okay for the Vikings. Kevin O'Connell, quarterback whisperer, because Carson Wentz, 26-42, 313. Now, the 2 picks of the touchdowns is not great. Jalen Hurts balled out, too, for the Eagles. Trying to get the passing going a little bit so A.J. Brown can get a little love. A.J. Brown, 4 receptions, 121, and 2 touchdowns. Got to get him going. Saquon Barkley, not a huge day.
No.
Not a huge day, but you were expecting his production to go down this year if you had him in fantasy, because last year he had a career year. On to the next.
We talked about the 1-6 New Orleans Saints. We talked about the 1-6 Miami Dolphins, the 1-6 Tennessee Titans. And then there's the Jets. The Carolina Panthers this time add to the Jets' misery and woe. 13-6 victory at MetLife. Jets 0-7 and looking great doing it.
Well, their owner talked about Justin Fields not in a great light.
Yeah, Fields got benched. Jets are not announcing a number 1 starter. Things are going great on the green side of MetLife.
What's their owner's name again? I forget.
Woody Johnson.
They asked Woody Johnson in this
Johnson
scrum,
and Johnson company,
in this little scrum, about Aaron Glenn and the confidence he has in Aaron Glenn. And you know what he did? He answered with basically just crushing Justin Fields. Well, if you have a quarterback with a rating that your quarterback has, not a lot of coaches are going to win those games.
No,
They're
unfortunately
0-7. They stink. Panthers, not much better, but you know what? 4-3, you'll take it for Carolina.
The 6-1 Indianapolis Colts prove my mother right once again.
Gold pants, dude. Gold pants.
38-24 victory over the Los Angeles Chargers, who wore the brightest yellow that they could possibly get away with. A big win in Los Angeles.
Huge win in Los Angeles. That is the first win to me for the Colts that shows that they're maybe not fake good. I'm not super into the Colts still. I think they're okay. But you know what? Going over to L.A. and outdoing Justin Herbert, it's a good win for them. Good win for them. Danny Jones, Indiana Jones, 23 for 34, 288, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Indianapolis Colts outdoing the Chargers, who everybody was ready to crown as a Super Bowl champion when they started the season 3-0. They're now 1-3 in their last 4.
Yeah, we talked about the game in Denver earlier. Let's hear how this one ended.
For Boney the snap, Crawshaw, the rookie, will hold it. Will Lutz, 39-yard field goal for the win. He got it! Denver's won!
That gave the Denver Broncos a 33-32 win. They're now 5-2 over the 2-5 New York Giants. It was Kevin Harlan on NFL and CBS with the call.
That was a heck of a game on Sunday.
It was for the first 3 quarters.
One hell of a game. Giants had the Broncos shut out in the first 3 quarters, and the Broncos scored 33 points in the 4th quarter.
But again, I was too busy watching Talladega, so it didn't matter to me.
You know what? If you would have watched any second of that game, maybe the Giants would have won.
No. The 4-1-1 Green Bay Packers had a time and a half with the Arizona Cardinals needing a late touchdown.
Hands it off to Jacobs, and he is in for a Packers touchdown, his second today.
Kenny Albert, NFL on Fox with the call. Packers beat the Cardinals 27-23.
Packers outlasting Arizona. Arizona puts up a decent fight every once in a while. Especially when Kyler Murray doesn't play. It's like better without him.
Well, you know, I think we can get to the last couple of games. There's only 4 games left. We'll get to that on the other side of the break.
Niners beat the Falcons in the 2 Monday night games. We'll talk about that briefly. And we'll get to our Week 7 overreactions in the NFL to start the 1 o'clock hour. San Diego Summer Sports Station, 97 through the Fans, the Braden Surprenant Show. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show. Live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's Urban Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Talked about some Padres news earlier on in the show. We're going to go back and listen to it. We talked about what the Padres should do with Mason Miller as a potential starting piece or in the bullpen. Go check it out on our YouTube page at B_SURP at BSURP. You can also watch at 97 through the Fan on YouTube as well. Follow us on social media at B_SURP, at FMarks with a Z 324 for Frank Marchese. And you can see all those in the description below.
So you just said it.
What?
It's not Marks with a Z. It's MARKZ, how you would pronounce my last name, Marchese.
Marchese.
MARKZ.
There's your account. There it is. Sorry, I got distracted by a Canva email.
No, you're fine. I can't do anything on my computer because I have JR stealing it now. So
Nice. Have fun with that. I'm hungry for lunch too, man.
It's gonna be kind of hard to do the end of the NFL whip around.
Let's quickly talk about it then.
Well, JR
tacos
stole
at?
My computer, so I can't.
You can use the other computer though to play the tacos.
I'm waiting for the tacos. Where the damn tacos at?
Wow, Rod. Phil's barbecue tomorrow at Nate, 11 a.m. Be there, be square.
Nice.
Don't be a square, man. John Cassidy says they look like the Savannah Bananas. The Chargers did on Sunday. That was an ugly uniform.
It was so bad.
It was so ugly.
It was horrific.
It was so ugly. And before anybody starts, well, that's because you're not a Chargers fan anymore. They have the nicest uniforms in all of sports.
No, that was...
And they ruined it with the yellow BS that they wore over the weekend.
That was objectively...
Minions. Yes, Rod.
That was objectively the worst uniform ever.
Who put that together, the yellow on yellow, and said, this is a great idea?
Did they not learn from the ketchup and mustard game between Jacksonville and Houston, that one Thursday night game?
No, remember the color rush stuff they used to have? The Chargers color rush, because they started the color rush when they were here in San Diego. And they had the royal blue jerseys and pants with the white Charger helmet, and that was the first year they had the gold face mask on it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a clean look. Wearing the yellow stuff at all? Terrible. Terrible. I mean, what? Who thought that was a good idea? Who was like, you know what? This is going to be great. The yellow on yellow, disgusting. No wonder they played like they played like their uniforms.
It's so bad.
So bad. I agree. I think that caused Herbert to throw 2 picks. I agree.
I can't look at this yellow anymore. Good God.
No, that's why he played poorly. You know what? You feel good. You look good. You feel good. You feel good. You play good. They obviously did not look good, which means they didn't feel good. Hence, they did not play good. We're going to see that again against the Vikings on Thursday? That's the Thursday night game. Chargers and Vikings.
Yes, it is.
Don't they already put out the uniforms ahead of time?
I don't know. I don't think it is.
I think teams do that now. Chargers uniform schedule.
Los Angeles Big Birds. There it is.
Yeah, that's a fact too. Ello said they look like urine.
No, that was Jacksonville's.
Also bad. All right. So they just play. Who did they just play? The Colts? Yeah,
Yes.
Gold. Gold is rich. Calling that gold. That was like a disgusting.
No, that was
like mustard yellow.
That was French's yellow. Is what that was.
Dijon mustard uniforms. They're going navy and navy on Thursday.
Oh God.
That means they're wearing those navy helmets too. The ones that are like the.
Are they on the road or are they at home?
They're at home.
Navy helmet, navy uniform, white pants. Why is that such an issue?
They're going navy jersey and navy pants like they used to wear.
Why is it so hard to go navy and white?
Well,
navy
the last
and
time
gray on the road.
If I remember correctly, the last time that they wore the navy on navy uniforms was when they moved the game to Arizona after the 03 fires. Was that the 03? Is it? I think it was 03.
I wasn't out here then.
Yeah, it was too much. They couldn't play at Qualcomm. Qualcomm was being used as an evacuation zone, and they had Monday Night Football. they had to move the game to Arizona when they played the Dolphins, I think. And they wore the navy blue jerseys and navy blue pants, if I'm not mistaken. Chargers, navy. Look. Yeah, I think that was the game.
Yeah, I moved out here in 2005. So, 2006 is my first year here. We moved day after Christmas, 2005.
I think that was the game that it was. Yeah, it was against the Dolphins. Yeah, they got smoked in that game too. So they're going with the navy, and they brought back the old Charger helmet. And I think they're making the field look like the old Qualcomm field, if I'm not mistaken, with the Charger end zones that they used to have. Perez asked me, he was like, oh, they even like switched the website now. Superchargers. It's their Superchargers uniforms. Are they gonna play the San Diego Superchargers song? Please tell me they play it and they just like try to. Are they gonna call it are they gonna start a Los Angeles Superchargers song? Doesn't sound as cool. Superchargers.
Or as my economy teacher in high school is the Super Losers.
It's true.
He was a Raider fan.
Yeah, I'm looking at they changed their website to like the 90s look with the navy blue Charger helmet with the gold and white lightning bolt. It's a clean look that they used to have. By the time they moved to the white helmets, I was all for it when they were here.
Mm.
But so anyway, Perez asked me, he's a Cowboys fan. He's like, because that font, that font I'm talking about? Pull up the Chargers website, Frank.
Okay.
Chargers.com. They have like Superchargers at the top of it. That font is going to be in the end zones, is what I was told.
Okay.
So you know what that font? It was the block letters, kind of italicized with the yellow gold bar at the bottom that kind of looked like a lightning bolt. So that's like the look that they're going to do, and they're going to put that in the end zones like they used to do at Qualcomm, and I think they're going to put the navy blue helmet in the middle of the field.
Oh yeah, the classic Chargers. Yeah,
correct. So they're doing that on Thursday.
Holy cow, this website, did I just go back in time?
Yeah, that's what they did. They basically made the website like that. But anyway, so they're going to do that. Then they're going to go. They're wearing the navy lids like they had in the 90s. And so the last time they had the navy lids with the navy jerseys and pants was from that game that they played in 2003 against the Dolphins in Arizona. And so my buddy Perez goes, does this upset you, this look, or like the end zone? I'm like, not really. I mean, it doesn't really hit me in the feels as much as I would think. But I don't know. At this point in time, I just don't care anymore. Somebody's like, well, you're talking about it, so you obviously care. No, okay. We can talk about things that happen in sports. But that look on Thursday is going to be, it's such a, come on, San Diego fans, we're wearing the old uniforms. Come watch us play, because we're getting overpowered by all the other fan bases in the NFL every single week.
This is just going to look like, what is it, USA Bank Stadium West?
The Vikings, the last couple of times that they've played the Chargers in LA
it's been purple.
To me, there's three organizations. It's really two off the top of my, but three. The LA Rams, the LA Chargers, and the Las Vegas Raiders. The three teams that needed stadiums, right? As part of that entire deal, where they were all competing for LA. All three of those teams, in order to get a brand new stadium built, all signed up to just never have a home crowd.
The Chargers and Rams are proving the if you build it, they will come a lie.
That's a fact, actually. As much as I love crushing the Chargers, dude.
Actually, is it? Because they are coming. It's just
they're just not rooting for them. They're coming from all parts of the country. Because I don't know, maybe having a team in a warm weather city is great for when teams like Minnesota shows up in October and they're like, oh, yeah, I'd much rather, I could make a trip out of this. This is great. I love sports trips. I always look where I can make one happen. If I was a fan of any other team and I grew up in a different area, why wouldn't you? If you got a scheduled game, like if you're from any part of the AFC or NFC North and you're playing the Chargers or the Rams in November, December, or even January, why wouldn't you make that a trip to go to California? I totally would. But let me ask, out of all the teams, those three, the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Rams, are the three that don't have any type of home field advantage. You can say what you want, and we like to rip the Chargers all the time. But the Rams, when they play the Niners, that is like all San Francisco fans. It's all red. And most of the time when the Rams play, and the Rams are, and here's the thing though, Frank, the Rams are good, and the Rams have been to two Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm. Won one.
They won one. They've won a Super Bowl in LA. Still, nobody cares.
It's almost like people in Los Angeles don't care about football.
They care about football. They just care about other teams. They don't. They haven't had a team for so long that they didn't jump on the teams that showed up there. And maybe that's a long play for like the kids that live in LA.
Oh God, JR is getting into the command prompts on here.
Oh boy, you really screwed that computer up, didn't you,
Frank?
I
didn't. All I tried to do was log into the new logger.
Foul on Frank's computer. I will say this: August is right.
He draws the foul.
LA is an SC football town. I will also say this. They put they put the one team that they needed to put in LA, they didn't put in LA. I know the Rams had history there, and I know the Chargers spent some time there. The one team that would have just thrived in LA.
It's a Raider town.
It's the Raiders. The Raiders aren't getting it in Vegas. The Raiders would be getting it in LA. And if the Raiders had a competent family that ran their team, the Davis family, they would be making a fortune with Raider fans there. The Rams, I watch the Rams home games, dude. There's not a lot of Rams fans there. It's a lot of the other teams still. You can talk about the Chargers all you want and the Raiders, but the Rams are right there in the same boat, and they got a good football team. It's not as bad as the Chargers, but every time I see the Rams play the Niners, it's rough. Most of the people going to the Raiders games are like they're on vacation. When I was in Vegas 2 years ago, or was it 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago. They were playing the Steelers. I was Steelers fans everywhere, which is that they're a big fan base, so it makes a lot of sense. They should have moved the Rams to Vegas. They should have kept the Chargers in San Diego and moved the Raiders to LA. Could you imagine in an alternate universe where you actually have a stadium here in San Diego that's like, I don't know, fits an NFL team?
It may not be an alternate universe for too much longer.
But this is the alternate universe that continues here, where it's the San Diego Chargers and the LA Raiders again. There's an alternate universe where the Chargers have Justin Herbert in San Diego in a stadium right there in Mission Valley, and the rivalries with the Raiders in LA.
And the Raiders have
Max
Geno
Crosby,
Smith.
Geno Smith, exactly. Continued the dominance of the Raiders for all those years. All right, so his computer's still out of luck. Niners beat the Falcons 20-10. Lions hammered the Bucks last night 24-9, and the Seahawks beat the Texans 27-19. Do we need any qualms on any of those things?
Nope. Those are things that happened.
We finished up the whip around.
I think we could save the overreactions for tomorrow. Give us something.
We can overreact tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't mind. I overreacted enough today. I think we could save some overreactions for tomorrow.
I think we could save the listening to betting insiders on what fans want to do, what they want to watch.
Yep.
Tomorrow.
Another one. I say we do college, and we'll do the review of the college picks because that's short.
Yeah.
Review of the college picks.
Plus, I won this week, so yeah, we'll definitely do that. We'll do that again tomorrow too.
And then we'll do the Holiday Bowl to close the show out.
You want to listen to Sean Lewis?
Again, we could do that tomorrow.
All
Dive more. We'll have time to dive a little bit more into San Diego State football as they get set to take on Fresno State this weekend.
Let's recap the college football weekend when we come back. And we'll talk more about the Holiday Bowl at the end of the show. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. We didn't get to the midday sports standoff, but if you're able to take me down in sports trivia this month, you'd be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize, a trip to see Jerry Seinfeld, trip for 2 in Las Vegas, including 2 tickets to the show on April 17th at the Coliseum at Caesars Palace, a 2-night stay at the Flamingo Hotel and Casino, and a $100 gas card. I don't know why I cannot speak right now. Jerry Seinfeld returns to the Coliseum at Caesars Palace on April 17th and 18th. See Ticketmaster.com for tickets. All guests on 97 through the Fan will join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. College football. Time to get to it. Do we need music for this?
We can. I was just testing the new Logger login. So
let's
do that.
The new editing software. So when we post things via podcast, it comes in like there's a website that we are able to clip things off of and repurpose for that. And the system that we used to use is getting reset to a new one. It's getting a new one.
It's getting deleted entirely to a new program.
It's getting a new one.
Which was supposed to happen on Friday, but instead it happened during our show today, without anyone saying anything, which love the communication coming from the communications company.
So anyway, we're getting a new one. In the old system, you'd have to download clips every 10 minutes and then piece together the entire audio, which is not fun. It takes forever. Download all of them. They had to go in, take all the commercials out. 10 minutes at a time. Some of them 15 minutes at a time. Now with the new system, you can select how much time you want to use on one clip. So
down to the second,
Frank
too.
Can't, and we all know our out cue times. I mean, the hard out one's going to be easy for you.
Oh, it's so nice.
That is such a game changer. So Frank is just on cloud 9 over there, and he has been since. You should have seen him. He was sitting in his seat like this.
After a god-awful start to this morning.
Yes.
Where
I've seen a lot of different emotions of Frank Marchese today. Let me tell
Braden,
you.
Screaming into my watch, by the way, because I have the Apple Watch. Screaming into my watch. Do not trust me with a microphone for a while. And then the NASCAR track came out. And then Inter started beating USG 3-0. And now this.
Second Monday of the week for Frank.
Exactly right.
So
and now the new locker. It's a happy day.
Guys, so excited over there.
The one thing that's about to ruin it, though.
What?
Is I am going to have to leave. And all those same people in the general public that drove me to wanting to run my head through a concrete wall before, I'm going to have to intermingle with them again.
Right. Okay. Don't you have to do that every day?
Yes.
So you find your happy spot during the Braden Surprenant show every day from 10 to 2.
Do.
Hey, you know what? Hey, we try our best.
Yes, I do.
We try our best. We also try our best to do well in college football picks. How did we do last week?
You see, some of us apparently try a little bit harder than others.
All right.
It's
time for me to get back into gear, so I had to start trying again on these picks, and and I'm locked back in 6-4. Not bad. Not bad.
You went 6-4. Both Skylar and I went 5-5, so it wasn't a bad week for us. First of all, we'll start off with your TCU Horny Toads beating the Baylor Bears 42-36. TCU now 5-2. Baylor goes to 4-3. We all won this game.
Yeah, because you picked the Frogs.
Exactly right.
Smart.
See that?
Smart to pick the Frogs. Frogs cover. Frogs had to deal with multiple lightning delays. Frogs almost didn't win, by the way. There were multiple times, and now here's the thing. I complained about the mouse and putting it on streaming only after the multiple rain delays in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes to go and then blacking everybody out of what happened in the game. I was able to go back and rewatch the highlights. TCU forced like 4 turnovers in the final 10 minutes of the game. And at every point in time, they still had like a 42-21 point lead. And then like 3 minutes to go, they were still up 42-21. And the final score, by the way, was 42 to what, Frank?
36.
They gave up 15 points in like 2 minutes.
Oops.
And we're another onside kick away from potentially giving up more points. I mean, what happened? Sonny Dykes addressed the media after the game and basically defended his players and saying, like, you know, other teams that we've had could have lost that game, but our team knows how to win, and that's what, because I guess some of the players, you know, on it, and I get it and I don't get it at the same time. Like, I get you want to defend your players, but he was defending them in the media today from, you know, or on Saturday, and then he addressed why he did it. It was like, well, they don't like some of the things that were said about him after the loss to Kansas State. Oops. Hey, you know what? Don't lose. Don't get embarrassed by a bad K-State team. And guess what? You probably won't have bad things said about you.
Very true.
If you don't like it, play better. Anyway, so TCU gets the win. They have West Virginia, who's awful. TCU's a 15.5 point favorite. That game's not even on television. It's on ESPN Plus. So take that for what it's worth. I'm terrified about that game. West Virginia is awful, but it's
9 other games to get to.
TCU's 1-6 in those games at West Virginia. They're 1-6 in the last 7 games at West Virginia. So
I'm mad about this one because I should have went with my gut, and if I would have went with my gut, it would have been a 2-1 with me winning. Instead, we all lose this game. The number 17 Vanderbilt Commodores get a 31-24 win over the number 10 LSU Tigers. Tigers 5-2, Vandy 6-1.
A good win for Vanderbilt. I think it also shows like LSU is just, you know, they're okay. I think the SEC is very okay. Not as dominant as they've been. I think you've seen a lot of parity in college football this year, and I think you're going to see, this is going to be the year you see maybe a couple of 3-loss teams make the college football playoff. Vanderbilt, good win at home. Now 6-1 on the season. Not a huge fan of Diego Pavia again. Also, your boy Brian Kelly in the media talking about, you know, again, same thing, defending his guys. It's unfair to like criticize them on things, and because they worked really hard. And then somebody reposted a clip of Nick Saban complaining after a win, saying that his guys need to be better, wearing an LSU stuff, going like, yeah, you could be happy about the results, but not happy about the process. And if we want to be as good as we think we should be, we got to be a lot better than this. That was after a win.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why, Brian, some people have high expectations for the college football teams.
So we're all 1-1 right now. This is where things start to shift. The number 14 Oklahoma Boomer Sooners go into South Carolina, beat the Gamecocks 26-7. Both Skylar and I win this. Braden takes the L.
South Carolina is not the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, you bid on the Grim Reaper.
They're not in it anymore. They just have no. Beamer might get fired too. I mean, I was watching that game for a little bit. I flipped it on during the many of lightning delays, and Beamer goes for it's 4th and 2 at midfield. We all know the Beamers like doing special teams and crazy special teams plays, and they decide to run a fake punt. The problem is the announcers immediately go, like, this would be a great time for a Beamer fake punt. Because it's true. I mean, everybody in the world knows they're going to run a fake punt. You know who else knew? Oklahoma knew. They didn't bring any they brought a couple of guys. They had their linebackers drop back into coverage. The punter takes the snap and throws the ball directly to the Oklahoma linebacker. And it was like, all right, the special teams ain't getting it done for Shane. Everybody and their mother knew that was going to be a fake punt, including Oklahoma, whose head coach, by the way, Brent Venables, had to go against South Carolina a decent amount while he was the DC at Clemson. They were all over it. They outclassed South Carolina. South Carolina is no longer the Grim Reaper of the SEC. We're going to have to find somebody else that is.
Sticking with the SEC, number 5, Ole Miss, for me at least, surprisingly losing to Georgia, number 9. Both teams now 6-1. Final score 43-35. Braden, you won this one. Skylar and I both lost. I think we lost on the spread. I think it was close. I think they just missed out on covering.
Yeah, Georgia's a good football team. Georgia was it. And the thing with Lane Kiffin always starts off strong, and then he can't win that next game to get him to the next level. I would imagine Ole Miss probably loses maybe another game after this. Ole Miss's remaining schedule, after they fall to Georgia, they're going to go to Oklahoma next week. That's going to be an interesting game. And then after that, I guess they got South Carolina, the Citadel, Florida, Mississippi State. There's no reason why they can't win out after this next week against Oklahoma. That's a huge game for Ole Miss to be in the conversation, the SEC title game, as well as a college football playoff bid. That might be a college football playoff playing game next Saturday.
Could be. I'm no longer, as the Fresno State game this weekend for San Diego State is no longer my biggest concern remaining on the schedule.
You talking about Boise State?
Yeah, because it's Boise State. Boise State was favored by 12.5, I think it was, against UNLV, who, remember, hadn't lost yet. Yeah, they covered that pretty good.
But they hadn't lost yet, but they were like surviving games.
Right.
I mean, they weren't they were fake good, as we like to say.
Boise State covered that 12.5 pretty fair-handedly.
Yes.
With a 56-31 win. You and Skyler both won this game. I thought that UNLV would at least cover.
They were early.
Yes, Boise State. I thought Boise State was going to win. I thought UNLV would at least cover. They were wrong. So you two won. I took the L here.
You don't like the big spreads. This is what UNLV had in their 6-0 start to the season. Beating Idaho State, beating Sam Houston, who's still yet to win a game, beating UCLA, not the UCLA team that showed up to play Penn State, beating Miami of Ohio, beating Wyoming, and beating Air Force by 2 points, who also only has one win. Boise State was their first actual test, and they got smoked. We'll see what happens the rest of the way for UNLV. That actually, I think, bodes well for San Diego State because they probably don't have to deal with UNLV now at the top of the standings, a team that they don't get to play in the regular season for Mountain West bidding. On to the next one.
Another result I thought was surprising. The number 7 Texas Tech Red Raiders drop in Arizona against the Arizona State Sun Devils, a 26-22 final. Braden, you got the W in this one. Skylar and I both hanging an L.
Arizona State is really good at home. Arizona State is not nearly as good on the road. Arizona State has done a very good job at home. That is going to be, to me, Lubbock is always the hardest place to play in the Big 12. Lubbock and Texas Tech just found their Lubbock that they never have to deal with, and that might be Tempe and having to play in Tempe. It's a difficult place to play, I think, for a lot of Big 12 schools out here on the West Coast in Arizona. Levitt played well. I mean, you know what? This is the result I wanted. And by the way, I don't think if you go back in the tape, I'm pretty sure I say the reason why I picked Arizona State is I needed Arizona State to win this. That's kind of the reason why it was.
Yeah,
and it has created chaos in the Big 12. And as I said, 10-2 TCU, Jerry's World. I still have convinced myself that might be the case.
And go Aztecs with the overall reason why they won. Penn State doing Penn State things, especially in Iowa. Penn State has lost, their last 2 games by a combined 2 points?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? 25-24 Hawkeyes. I picked Iowa. I picked Penn State to win this game. You and I both picked Penn State. They covered. Iowa was favored by 3.5, and Skylar takes the loss.
Yeah. I thought for sure Penn State would make it close and then lose. No, you know what I said? I thought they'd play for James Franklin.
Yeah.
They didn't really do that.
They did not.
Penn State, and we knew that at the beginning of the season that was probably going to be an L because Penn State can't win in Iowa.
No. The number 20 USC Trojans dropping on the road against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, 34-24. I actually went with the big spread in this game, and I was rewarded for it. I get the win. You and Skylar both get the loss here.
I thought for sure USC would keep it close, but Notre Dame wins by 10. Why is Notre Dame the 12th best team in the country? What have they done to prove that they're the 12th best team in the country?
They've lost 2 games.
They lost 2 games to good team. Like the losses are good.
Sure.
I guess they beat Boise State. That's kind of cool.
I was wondering why my friend wasn't around on Saturday, especially Saturday night, and this is why. The Alabama Crimson Tide come away with the victory over the Tennessee Volunteers, 37-20. I picked Tennessee because I knew what was good for me. Skylar, obviously picking Alabama. You went with Alabama as well.
Of course,
Skylar,
I've watched enough Tennessee football games to know they ain't beating Alabama on the road.
I kind of knew that too, but I was under threat.
I'm not surprised by that result. I mean, the Vols had opportunities in that game. Defense let them down a handful of times. They had, opportunities to capitalize, and they didn't, just like the last time they went down to Tuscaloosa. So Tennessee drops to 5-2. Alabama's now 6-1. The Holy War, Utah and BYU. That was a fun one. I thought Utah was going to be able to pull it off, and BYU gets the W.
I want my quarterbacks with insane numbers. BYU 24-21. Me and Skylar both get the win. Braden, you took the loss there. BYU 7-0 as it sits. So again, Braden, you went 6-4. Skylar and I went 5-5. Skylar overall 41-43. So she's just 2 games under. Braden, you are 39-45. I am participating. It is 30. I have 33-51 on the year so far on the picks.
We'll be making our comeback spread here very close.
And
BYU and Utah does do the color rush every year, which is great.
We have figured out what our punishment is for the loser of this.
Excuse me? I don't remember there ever being a punishment.
The loser of these picks has to come in wearing yellow pants.
I don't have any
whoever
yellow pants.
finishes last.
Actually, no, I don't have any. Cathedral got wise and stopped having yellow anything.
There, yellow.
I thought we decided that the winner gets to fly with Skylar, and that's it.
Right, but there's a loser to this, and there's the reason why we're saying this is because I'm 6 games in the hole. I am already scouting Walmart for yellow sweatpants. So loser, winner gets a flight with Skylar to wherever they want within reason.
Skylar's going to fly herself somewhere that she wants to go.
Exactly. And the loser has to wear yellow pants to work one day.
Nobody's going to take you seriously.
No one takes me seriously anyway.
Anyway, it's fun. So I'm going to Provo in a couple weeks now, mid-November. TCU BYU, or we're going to give BYU their first loss of the year. I doubt it, but that'd be sick. I told my friend about the cougar tails. You know about cougar tails?
No.
You know what a cougar tail is? I'll tell you what a cougar tail is.
I know a cougar has a tail.
I'll tell you what a cougar tail is when we come back. And we'll finish up with the Holiday Bowl talk. San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. All right. I got some good news on the Cougar Tales in a second here. I do want to mention the biggest fan contest returns on Monday, November 3rd. Our grand prize is a night in the Odyssey Suite with 20 tickets for you and your friends to watch a future Padres game with the whole fan staff. Register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest-fan and listen when we announce names each day at 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 5:30 for your chance to qualify. This hour on 97 through the Fan is brought to you by the Toyota of Poway, voted San Diego's #1 Toyota dealer by USA Today, with APRs as low as 0% and tons of new Toyotas on the ground. No tricks, only treats during the Trucktober sales event happening now only at Toyota of Poway or online at toyotaofpoway.com in the heart of San Diego. How did they get the Toyota dealership rankings in the USA Today? Like, did they put some like new journalist on that? Hey, we're gonna need you to rank all the Toyota dealerships in San Diego. Rank all the Toyota dealerships in the country.
Yeah. Duh.
I got the Toyota dealer. I got the Toyota dealer rankings.
So
That's insane.
So, I mean, you can ask Eddie Brown about this on Friday or on Thursday. What they do is they put all of the ranking systems in a hat, right? And they have every single writer from the newspapers reach into the hat, and whichever one they pull is the ranking they have to conduct.
You got the Toyota Power.
Some other news places might do it differently, but
all right.
We do need the San Diego Toyota beat writer to come on here. That would be a good one.
So BYU's got Cougar Tails. Somebody thought it was a hot dog. It's not a hot dog. It's basically like a maple bar. It's long. They got new flavors too. I didn't know they changed the flavors up. I can't wait to see what the flavors are.
Okay.
They have flavors of Cougar Tails. So a Cougar Tail is basically RG3 called it the glizzy of donuts. That is a term. May I say the glizzy of donuts. They have a classic one, which is like a maple bar. Again, it's like 16. What did they say it was? Like 16 inches? They have specialty flavors like royal blueberry, dark chocolate, milk chocolate, vanilla, and bacon.
Oh, bacon.
They also have limited edition flavors, which have included raspberry sour cream, cookies and cream, and s'mores biscoff. That sounds delightful. So I think they changed the flavors of it. I might have to get a couple of those things. Cougar Tails. Best thing about going to BYU. The Cougar Tails. All right. I did want to play this clip. College football. And then we're going to dive into the Holiday Bowl stuff to kind of finish up the show. You have the clip ready to go?
I do. 46 glorious seconds of college
This
football.
is the definition of college football. So I'm pretty sure that is Texas Tech athletic director, which I think his name is Kirby Holcutt, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember him from the college football playoff. Kirby Holcutt. He was like the first chairman of the college football playoff those first couple of years. I was tired of watching that guy on my TV week after week, saying where we were ranked in the top 25, whatever it may be. Kirby Holcutt. So the Big 12 announced at the beginning of the season that you were not allowed to throw things onto the field. It would be a penalty and a fine. Okay. That's a problem for Texas Tech because they have the tradition of throwing tortillas on the field. We've talked about this. Some old coach one time was like, when they asked him about Texas Tech and all they got in Lubbock is cactus and tortillas. So they got pelted with tortillas. They've done it every single time now. Well, that's getting penalized now. No more throwing of tortillas, which has upset Texas Tech fans. When this rule came out, Kirby Holcutt's like, we're not going to stop. We're going to throw tortillas still. This is our tradition. Well, Texas Tech's in the midst of potentially making the college football playoff for the first time. They have spent $12 million in the transfer portal. They got a loaded team. They're very good. They're at the top of the Big 12 standings or near the top after taking a loss to Arizona State. And they're still getting penalized for throwing tortillas. They're trying to get people to stop. Frank even had a segment on this last week. Remember Kansas got upset about it? They're like, whoa, they're throwing stuff at us. This is ridiculous. Yelling at the head coach. Guy's like, I can't control this. So what does Kirby Hocut do? Or as Nate Taylor calls him, Kirby Cold Cuts. Well, he goes to the media, and this is what he's got to say about throwing tortillas on the field in Lubbock, Texas.
The stakes are too high, and we need to help, not risk penalizing our team again for throwing tortillas. Simply, let's not do it. The situation is on me. I leaned into this of throwing tortillas at the beginning of the football season. Now I must ask everyone to stop, and I must ask our staff to enforce it on game days. I close and will turn it over to Coach McGuire by asking our students and our fans to continue to make Jones AT&T Stadium the best environment in college football. And I don't know how they will do it, but I am confident that our fans and our students are about to make the Jones even louder than it's ever been before.
I don't know how they're going to do it without throwing tortillas on the field, but you know what? We're going to have to find our way. The number one comment, and here's, I know they're Tech fans because Texas Tech fans like putting cactus on their Twitter accounts, the little cactus emoticon. This guy, Robert Powell on Twitter. This looks like more of a hostage video than a statement.
It did, yeah. You had that vibe to it.
They had a press conference in Lubbock, Texas, pleading with the fans to not throw tortillas on the field after they knew they wanted to keep throwing tortillas on the field.
Known tortilla.
PMCK619 in the chat's got a good question. How good do tortillas fly? They fly, let me tell you. Those things are, as somebody that has seen it before, those things can move. It's honestly an interesting perspective. Like when we went and played Texas Tech my junior year, we were 3 in the country. Texas Tech had Patrick Mahomes. I'm on the roof of the building to film the All-22 cam. And the opening kickoff happens, and I just see this wave of objects floating from the stands, from all parts of the stands, like upper deck, lower spot, all parts of the bowl at AT&T Jones Stadium. And I'm like, what is that? What is that? I'm like, and I remember that I was warned about the tortillas, and I was like, oh, it's the tortillas. And they just start flying, and the field just gets pelted with about 150 to 200 tortillas coming from the stands. I told you, our opening kickoff, the TCU kid slipped on a tortilla in the end zone. Had to take a knee. And by the way, they're not wasting it on good tortillas. I mean, these are like mission tortillas, like just the fakest of the fake flour tortillas, wherever they get them in Lubbock, Texas. You know who's upset right now? The tortilla dealer in the parking lot is upset right now. Just cost him his business. You're going to have an underground black market for tortillas.
Don't invite Crumb. I see in the chat.
All the tortillas will have ketchup. We're gonna have to talk about the Holiday Bowl tomorrow because we're running out of time.
We're trying to get Crumb investigated at TSA.
We're trying to get him so many food endorsements for his lousy taste buds. Crumb in Toronto. What was your
a Crumb of Toronto?
Crumb of Toronto. That is like something that would air on their local Channel 4. Like Crumb going to like local establishments in Toronto. Eat your poutine on the fries. Yeah, the tortilla thing. I mean, how funny is that press conference? That is so college football. You have the athletic director begging the fan base in a press conference to stop throwing tortillas. Is their flagship, or the Red Raiders flagship, airing that press conference live like we would do here in San Diego? I'm going to tell you, we got the tortilla press conference coming up at noon. Stay tuned.
I'm waiting for the tacos. Where are the damn tacos at?
Well, Jeremiah, they got a lot of extra tortillas in Lubbock now. Quinn and Chris coming up next. This has been the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 to the Fan.